Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another Friday night, another lawn care Q&A live stream. My name is Ron Henry, and the live stream is all about you guys. I try to do my best to answer your lawn care questions. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But either way, we have a great time hanging out, talking about lawn care. So the way this works, if you're new to the live stream, first of all, welcome. You're going to take your questions, drop them in the comment section, and then I'll just work through them in the order that they come in. So, sometimes if there's a point of your question that needs a little bit more clarification, feel free to add that as soon as I ask for it, because I try to go through the comment section in order. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream tonight. So I already saw the usual suspects ahead of time when I was getting ready for the show. So the first question we have is from Myrtle. We're gonna come back to that, Myrtle. But let's see, we got Up New York Lawn in the house tonight. We got Dalvin Larry. How's it going, sir? Always good to see you. We have Left Tool, guys. As far as like Arkansas YouTube royalty, I appreciate you, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. And you do, as far as someone that puts a ton of work into their Instagram posts, tough to beat, man. Tough to beat. So I always like watching your posts. They're always really awesome. Let's see what else we got here. We got Daryl Tunsall in the house. Got a question that we'll get to here in a second. And of course, Super TA. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream tonight. So guys, as far as this week has been a bit challenging. Any of you guys that follow the YouTube stories know what I'm dealing with, know what's been going on. If not, check out the YouTube stories. They're only available on mobile. But if not, if you don't want to wait that long, or you just want to, want to check them out, wait till like Sunday morning, either Sunday morning or Monday. I haven't decided yet. I'll be posting a piece of content that you guys have to watch all the way through to see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's just say that there's been some challenges with the lawn that were out of my immediate control. All right, so Myrtle is in the house. He has the first question of the evening. He says, Ron, already hit the like button. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much. And any of you guys are just getting settled in with your beverage of choice, feel free to touch that like button ever so gently. It's free for you guys to do. It's an easy way to support the live stream. All right, so the question he has is, if you have the time, is it beneficial to mow every day or better to do it every third day? So that depends largely on the height of cut you're trying to maintain, Myrtle. I will tell you that I've done testing on this season, and as far as because I wanted to see how long it takes the lawn to look its absolute best, right? Mowing daily. And what I found is after 4 to 5 days of regular mowing, so if I started, today's Friday, so if I mowed like tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, around Wednesday-ish, the lawn's gonna be looking really mint, right? So what the downside of doing that is that you're also introducing a lot more wear into the lawn, right? So you're, especially areas like around like hardscapes or edges, like those areas, I see noticeably more wear when I go to a daily mowing schedule, even with me varying the mowing patterns. Because even if you figure if your lawn's a rectangle, right, and you're mowing even in the 4 different ways, there's still going to be some sections where you're doing your trim passes that you're kind of burning in wear in those areas. So it is a balancing act. I would say save mowing every day for situations when, you got family coming over, like 4th of July weekend coming up. That would be a good reason to maybe, a few days before, 4 or 5 days before 4th of July, if you have company coming over, to start going to that everyday mowing schedule. But as a matter of practice, it's a lot of work. The lawn does look better. I will tell you that. Like mowing, even if you're mowing every other day to mowing every day, the lawn, there is a visual difference in the lawn. It definitely looks better. Mowing every third day, it depends on the height of cut you're going for. If you're at 3/4 of an inch or higher, you can probably get away with every third day. So mowing twice a week is sounds like what you're talking about. That should work well, given, if you have that kind of height of cut. If you go lower, right, if you get lower than that, that's when the mowing frequency starts to pick up. I always just say, you see me say in the live stream all the time, that 3/4 of an inch is about the height of cut where you can do real mowing and not have it mess up your life. If you're rotary mowing your lawn, you didn't actually say you're real mowing. I'm just assuming you are. But if you're doing it with a rotary mower, it's the same thing. If you're not going to be at 3/4 of an inch most likely, but every third day is gonna be just fine. Given most rotary mower cutting heights, and that again assumes that you're not bombing the lawn with nitrogen, like you've got a decent fertilization program where you're giving the lawn just what it needs, so you're not getting lots of excessive growth. That should work. So just gives you a couple of options. I would save the mowing every day for when you have company coming in and you want the lawn to look its absolute best. But as a matter of practice, Even if you have the time, you're going to start adding wear to, to areas, especially the trim areas of your lawn. That's what I found anyway. Great question. Great question to kick things off, guys. And one of the things I want to talk about this evening, and it's going to be, we're going to try a giveaway tonight, guys. We're going to try one. We're going to see. I found some software online that I think is going to be really easy for you guys to use, and that should work. So we'll see how that works. And as far as what we're going to be giving away, actually, I'm not going to show you that yet. But all I'm going to tell you is it's custom. It is one of 3 in existence, and it is coming to you guys courtesy of Mr. Josh Habib. So I can tell you it's pretty epic. I like it a lot. It's really cool looking. And I'll show you guys in a little bit here what we're talking about. All right. But as far as the topic I wanted to get you guys thinking about is, let me know what fertilizer you guys are planning to use this summer. We're getting into the summer months. If you're a cool season guy, you're probably not fertilizing as much. But if you got Zoysia, Bermuda, Saint Augustine, or whatever else we got out there, Centipede, this is our go time. So I want to know what you guys are using to feed your lawn, just out of curiosity, and definitely drop that in the comments and why you chose that particular fertilizer. All right, so let's go on to the next comment we have here. So Up New York Lawn says, I have news that'll make Ron very happy. Okay, let's see what that is. He says, soon I'll be joining the real team, starting with a 7-blade Earthwise, and hopefully soon the Owlet Liberty 43. Congratulations, sir. You have earned the first applause of the evening. Awesome. Yeah, you're gonna like that, man. You're gonna like the cut that you get with that 7-blade. And then when you move into the Liberty, into the Owlet, it's gonna be even that much better. Because I'll tell you, I was from the camp where I thought that, when I had my Scott's 20-inch, I was like, oh man, this looks so much better. It can't possibly get better than this. And there is the difference you saw from going from a rotary to a manual reel mower, going from a manual to like a powered, it's a bigger gap. It's like several orders of magnitude better. So I'm glad you're starting it out. You're actually doing the smart thing. You're going to see if it's actually for you, if you have the time, if you want to get out there and mow as much as you need to really get a good result reel mowing, and then move into the Owlet. That's a good call. Very, very cool. And let's see, you have a follow-up question here. You say that, and a bent grass putting green project this fall or even earlier. Any advice on this, Ron? I don't have a putting green, so I can't really give you a ton of advice. All I can say is that you have to really be committed to mowing a lot if you want it to look good, right? There's people that get putting greens and they will go through all the mowing that's necessary to get them looking decent to start. But to maintain them and keep them looking nice, you're really going to be mowing it every single day, right? And that's a big commitment. So you just kind of know what you're getting yourself into. And even Left Tools in the house, I think those guys have like a mini golf course in their where they're hanging out there in Arkansas. And I think he says it best. He says, "Up New York Lawn, it's a slippery slope, brother." And I would agree. I don't have a putting green, but you're just as far as like real mowing is one level of commitment. And then, real mowing at like the heights that I'm at, which is just under half an inch, that's like every other day, really. And then a putting green, you're really every day if you want it to stay looking nice. So it's going to be cool. But and if you decide to do it, definitely let us know. We definitely want to know that. But yeah, it's just it's a lot of work, but definitely worth it. They look really cool, especially if you like to play golf and you like putting, right? Okay, next up we have a question here, or a point from Dalvin Larry. He says, we got 2.5 inches of rain a week ago. So not even 7 days later, my lawn started checking out from drought stress. Is there anything you do outside of watching your lawn color to stay on top of watering? Yeah, and actually, that's a great segue into something I wanted to let you guys know is that Hydrotane is back in stock. So the liquid Hydrotane, so the 1 gallon jug of Hydrotane, and I think it's the 15-gallon container of the Granular Hydrotane are both back in stock. So if you, as far as something you can do, Dalvin, that I've seen good results with this season is Hydrotane. You do an application of it. It lasts up to 3 months, up to 90 days is what they say. And I have noticed a visual difference in my lawn with actually less watering compared to in seasons past when I didn't use Hydrotane. Both are available now, and they're both on the golf course lawn store. Again, the 1 gallon and the Granular are available. So I would consider doing that. As far as what you can do to stay on top of the color of your lawn, really an inch. I mean, assuming that everything is good with your lawn, right? So the soil is decent, and you're dealing with a warm season grass, which I am assuming you are. I'm just assuming Bermuda. You didn't say, but I'm going to assume Bermuda. An inch of water per week is typically all you really need. I mean, we're getting, if you're in Georgia, we've been getting heat, but we've also been getting rain fairly regularly too. I think probably 3 or 4 days ago, we got some rain. So, if you're really trying to get the absolute deepest green, if you're trying to get the lawn to really pop as much as you can pick up your watering some, like that will help. But as far as like what the lawn actually needs, an inch of water per week is really all you should really need to put on the lawn. If you've not considered Hydrotain, give that a shot. Again, they're both available now on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Out of the two, I'll tell you, I have never actually used the liquid. I've always just gone with the granular. And the reason for that is with the liquid, the way you apply it, you have to, or ideally, you want to make sure that the lawn is already wet, right? You want to make sure that the lawn, the turf is already wet. You want to apply the Hydrotain, and then immediately after you put it down, you need to water it in. So the way that a lot of people do it, and I think you actually get the best result this way, is you break your lawn up into 1,000 or 2,000 square foot sections. Like you water the lawn, apply the Hydrotain, and then water that section in, and then move on to the next section. So for someone like me that has almost 12,000 square feet, that's just going to add a lot of headache to, for me anyway, to the application process. So I opt to go for the granular, which only has the requirement that you get water on it 3 to 5 days after application. So that's a lot easier for me. I put it down, and 3 to 5 days you're good to go. Or I can run irrigation, and it's all watered in. It works just great. In my case, I kind of do both, right? So even with the granular, I put it down and I water it in right away. But I tend to do my applications like the last one that I did. It was right after top dressing. If you guys actually saw my top dressing video, which was shot May 30th. That like literally like 2 days after that, we got tons of rain. We got like 6 inches of rain over the course of 3 days in Georgia. So that was like the perfect scenario for getting Hydrotain watered in really, really well. And that's probably the next thing I would say just to do, man. I mean, outside of getting an inch of water on your lawn every week, making sure you're keeping up with your mowing, and then try some Hydrotain. That will help. I've seen a difference in my lawn this season from it. Great question. Yeah, sorry you're dealing with the drought stress and that your lawn's turning yellow, but I mean we've got some technology now that will definitely help make that better. Okay, so up next we got let's see, Up New York Lawn says she's up to the challenge and won't mess it up. I got the dedication, rotary mowing almost every day. So there you go. So yeah, so if you're already rotary mowing Up New York Lawn almost every other day, you're going to be good to go. So that shows you already have the time. And you enjoy mowing enough that when you switch over to a real mower, it's not going to be that much of a stretch to get a good result. Very, very cool. Hey guys, and one other thing, and something I also had to get with you guys on. So I had a question. I don't think it was last week. I think it was the week before. On using a hose end sprayer, and I got some emails on this too, on using the Ecologel products out of a hose end sprayer. So I actually reached out to Jim at Ecologel and said, hey, listen, out of the products that you have, like the Turfplex and their Bloomplex and Nutrizolve, like out of those products, which of them, or can any of them be applied properly using a hose end sprayer? And his answer was no, because they're all designed to be absorbed foliarly. They're designed to be uptaken from the leaf. And you just simply don't put down enough of a fine mist, using a hose end sprayer. And as far as controlling the application rate, like something like C Extra that has it's very, very concentrated, that's not something that you're going to be able to do successfully. The only product that he says that you can apply out of a hose end sprayer is Hydrotain, right? And which makes sense because that's really designed to be put in and put down with a lot of water. So just keep that in mind. So any of you guys that were asking that question as far as the Ecologel products, what can you use a hose end sprayer? Really, it's only Hydrotain. Everything else, you're going to want to go to a backpack sprayer for the best possible result. All right, Daryl Tunstall's in the house. He says, what's up, Ron? My lawn has bounced back from the overdose of PGR. When should I put my next application down? Last May was the first application. So great question, Daryl. So when you say your lawn's bounced back, so it's greening up nicely, like there's no yellowing, it doesn't look stressed at all. So I think you said you went at a little over 4 times rate if memory serves me. So if it's bounced back, if it's fully greened up, let's give it another week. I mean, I don't want you to have to get into the point where you start getting surge growth or anything like that. But, given that you went super heavy, I don't want to introduce like more growth regulator to the lawn just yet in case there were areas that you sprayed a little bit heavier that haven't fully recovered yet. Let's give it another week or so and then do your PGR application. As far as your rate, so again, if you have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, what you're going to want to do is apply PGR for Bermuda. This is Bermuda, guys. If you have cool season grass, the rates for cool season grass tend to be a little bit higher. But if you have Bermuda or Zoysia, I think the safe application rate is 0.25 ounces, a quarter of an ounce per 1,000 square feet. What that means is if you're using a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, which will cover up to 4,000 square feet, depending on your walking pace and how you got it calibrated, that means you're going to be mixing 1 ounce of plant growth regulator with 4 gallons of water and anything else that you're putting down with it. I also tend to use a liquid fert like Turfplex, and along with the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit when I do my PGR app. But whatever you're putting down, just know that it's only 1 ounce of PGR with 4 gallons of water, and that goes over 4,000 square feet. So 1 ounce is going to look like what you see here. You see that very first line? I mean, this is like a 32-ounce container. That first line right there, that's 1 ounce. And it doesn't look like a whole lot, but you don't need more than that to get a good result. So just want to give you guys that disclaimer on PGR. Awesome stuff, but definitely try your best. Do not over apply it, or you can set. I mean, you're not going to probably kill the lawn, but you're going to have a serious setback along the lines of what Daryl was dealing with. All right, so let's see what we got here. We got Tony Valdez in the house. What's going on, Tony? Thanks for coming to hang out. Again, Super TA, Justin Aguilar saying left tool is the best tool. Yep, so he's in the house. And Up New York Lawn is saying that he's got temps in the 60s and 70s all week in Buffalo. Let's see who else we got in the house here. We got Timothy Smith. Sorry, sir. You said, good evening, Ron, and all of the lawn care people. Loving and enjoying the chat. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. Papa Mo's Lowe's also in the house. And Saul Rodriguez from SoCal. Thanks for coming to hang out, guys. Always great to see you guys. So definitely, guys, as you get your questions, drop them in there, and we will work through them. Okay, so next up, we have a question or a point here from Alex B. He says, look forward to this, Ron. Personally, I've had the best luck in the summer switching to lower nitrogen, higher potassium fertilizers, getting those micronutrients in, and of course, proper irrigation. Yeah, man, it sounds like a good plan what you're doing there. So I don't tend to really switch ferts, but I also use ferts that are lower in nitrogen. So for example, that Humic Max fertilizer that I'm using this year, and even in past years when I was using the Country Club, I always apply those at a relatively low rate. So like around half a pound of nitrogen is what I'm putting down. But what you're talking about as far as going lower on N and going higher on the potassium, it's a good idea. So like that stress blend that Alan puts out, that Yard Mastery puts out, like that's a good choice if you're trying to switch things up for a summer fertilizer. So very, very cool. And yeah, the micronutrients also important. You can't neglect those. And then proper irrigation. Yeah, I mean, now's the time when, everyone is really worried about watering. So, if you guys are looking for something to help with that, I've got lots of content on watering, but also consider incorporating like a moisture manager like Hydrotain. Like I said, I've had really good results with it. I mean, you always read about or hear about those types of products, right? And you wonder, do they really work? I mean, the theory of it sounds good. But yeah, it is. It actually works really, really well. And as far as any of you guys that are planning to seed your lawn or overseed your lawn, if you're doing a warm season overseed, like with Bermuda or something like that, I got really good germination in the back lawn and front lawn. And I have to credit some of that to Hydrotain. I mean, it's the lawn has grown in really, really nicely. So anyone else is doing that or considering, overseeding your lawn, yet another reason to give, the product a try. All right. Jeremy White is in the house. He says, what's going on? He says, I just dropped some Turfplex today, just in time for the rainy days ahead. Very, very cool, Jeremy. Yeah, it is the middle of the month. This weekend, I am going to be doing my middle of the month spoon feeding application. I'm a couple days behind. But yeah, this either tomorrow or Sunday, more than likely Sunday, I'll be doing the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit. And my Turfplex as well. So I'm going to do the Carbon Kit at a super low rate, and then also Turfplex just to kind of give that mid-month nitrogen kick to kind of keep the lawn looking really nice. But very, very cool, sir. Glad you got it put down. And as far as the question about Turfplex, remember, guys, that Turfplex does not need to be watered in. So you don't really want to apply it when it's going to rain, like literally a couple hours later. So if you apply the product, you really want there to be about 6 hours of dry weather thereabouts. If you're gonna go with Turfplex, but it's not one of those things that you need to apply and then water in, because the idea is that it needs to sit on the leaf to be absorbed and taken up by the grass. So just something to consider. But awesome job, Jeremy. Glad you got your Turfplex down, and I'm sure your lawn is going to look awesome for it. Okay. Let's see. John Batista says, "What's going on, Ron? What's going on, sir?" Yeah, no problem, man. I always, I'm not sure if autocorrect just puts like Rob instead of Ron, because it's a common thing that happens. Even in my comment section, sometimes, people will put Rob instead of Ron. But yeah, whatever. I've been called worse, so I'll respond to it. All right, and then Robert Rainey says, anyone else watching the U.S. Open? I'm not right now. I caught some of the round yesterday. The greens looked like the first day. The greens looked a little bit fast for my taste. They looked like they were trying to make a statement, man. They look kind of rough. I wouldn't want to be putting on them at all. But yeah, hopefully I get to take in some this weekend, and we'll see. We'll see who's able to pull it off. Thomas Tucker's in the house. What's going on, Thomas? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. And then Diamond Shot, he says he got his mow and fert in anticipation of showers coming to East Alabama. Very, very good. Always good. You can't beat free water, right? When it comes to getting your ferts watered in. So guys, as far as you guys saw the theme for this live stream was about summer fertilizer. The reason why I chose that, because I've gotten a lot of questions in email around, like, should you change up your fertilization program? What should you be doing differently? And the long short of the answer is, if you have a warm season grass, again, Bermuda, Zoysia, centipede, Saint Aug, really, no, not really. You don't, the grass is actively growing, so you need to feed it. Now, you don't need to overfeed it. You don't need to slam it with tons of nitrogen. But as far as giving the lawn enough nutrients and food to be able to continue to grow well, super important. So I'm not really changing up much in my fertilization program at all over the summer months. I haven't in years past. Again, because I tend to go lower on the nutrients. I'm not going to really run into an issue. It haven't been a problem in months past. But yeah, any of you guys that are wondering what to use for fertilizer, if you already got one that works, I say stick with it. If you're getting good results with it, no reason to switch. If you're looking for something new, Humic Max is an excellent fertilizer. I've had really good results with it. I haven't had anyone that's got the fertilizer that's tried it out that has had a poor result with it. That has written back to me and said, Ron, I put it down, and you know what? Didn't work. My grass didn't green up, didn't look a lot better, and whatnot. So definitely consider that if you are considering a fertilizer for this season. You can get it in the golf course lawn store, and I'll show you what that looks like. It looks like this. Again, it's a 1608. And this is my fertilizer of choice that I like to use. And also, as far as Turfplex, like I said, it's currently back in stock. I don't know how long it'll stay in stock, because right now we are entering like the season time of the year when everyone's trying to get their lawns in order. So if you're considering Turfplex or considering the HydroChain, get that now. Don't wait on that. All right. Okay, so we have a question here, our super chat. Let me run down there and grab it really quick. So, super chat from Apollo Prime. Awesome handle, by the way.
Super chat received.
He says, what's up, Ron? I seeded Arden 15 on Tuesday here in North NoCal. It's going to be 105 to 115 for a week. Will water enough to keep it alive? Yeah, keep a lot of water on it, man. I mean, it's gonna take quite a bit of water to get Arden 15 to germinate well. If it's only for that first week, you're probably going to be fine, right? If you told me it was going to be 115 degrees for next month, you might have some challenges with getting decent germination, because that's just a lot of temperature, right? I mean, you definitely got the soil temps where they need to be, but that's just a lot of temperature to have to control on brand new grass. So yeah, as far as recommendations I can give you, just, water in that case, you normally say 3 times a day, but you're going to be watering like when the sun comes up, probably mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and then again in the evening. So it's going to be expensive from a water standpoint, unless you have like a well or something. But that's what it's going to take to get good germination. I will tell you guys that, and you guys if you watch the video that's going to be released hopefully Sunday or Monday, you'll learn this. But like the cost for me to overseed Arden 15 in the back lawn, the irrigation bill, the watering bill for that was $540. So not cheap. Now, granted, I have 12,000 square feet, and I was watering 3 times a day. But to be completely honest, I was actually surprised. I thought it was going to be worse than that. But just to keep in mind that watering. Budgeting for that is a really, really big part of a Bermuda grass overseeding project, or even a seeding project. Like, water is the biggest reason why most seeding projects fail. So So yeah, you've got definitely plenty of heat Apollo Prime. Just keep tons and tons of water on it. I mean, don't, obviously don't soak the lawn, don't turn it into a sloppy mess, but you're probably going to be watering 4 times a day to ensure that you get a good result. But congrats, man. R15 looks awesome. I love my lawn, and yeah, I think you're gonna really enjoy how it looks once it grows in. All right, so let's see who else we got here. Again, David Polanco's in the house tonight. What's going on, David? Stan G's in the house, and Left Tool. So you guys are doing what I cannot do. Left Tool says he's watching the U.S. Open. Very, very nice. Very nice. And Don Batista says, I'm 6 days into planting, into my Arden 15 planting, hoping to see some greenies poking through in the next 5 to 6 days. It's possible. It is possible. Keep in mind, guys, like I've gotten really good germination with Arden 15, both in my lawn and also in those planters that you see, like actually the one that I got from Left Tool. I think it was 9 days after planting the Arden 15 seed, I started seeing some germination. But also keep in mind, I was keeping water on it, and also I have really, really good soil. So that all that helps with the germination and with the results you get. So if you said you're 6 days in, if at day 12 you don't have like little baby Arden 15s everywhere, do not feel discouraged. As long as you're keeping water on it, it's going to germinate. And you're going to get a good result. So just something to keep in mind, Don. It does take a lot of water, takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. It's fun doing, especially if you are. It sounds like you're going from scratch. You said you're just seeding it, you're not overseeding it. So if you're just doing that, again, you don't have the existing grass competing with the seed you're trying to establish. You should get a pretty good result. So congratulations, and let us know how it works out. All right, let's see. So Timothy Smith says, thanks to the things I've learned from Ron and others, my lawn looks like a fake golf course. That's the goal, right? I mean, it takes a lot of work, but yeah, if you're out there mowing it, the big thing is mowing, right? Timothy, if you're out there doing all the mowing, you're putting down, the right products, and the big thing is mowing, and to take advantage of those products, you're going to get a good result. The biggest thing I can tell people is getting all that, keeping up with your mowing is the biggest thing that most people don't do enough of to getting an amazing lawn. Helps with everything. Helps with weed control. Helps with the look of the turf. It's just like mowing covers a multitude of sins, right? And even with my lawn, where I've had no pre-emergent on my lawn this year, the regular mowing is definitely helping with keeping the weed pressure down. So very, very cool, man. I definitely keep me posted on how the lawn develops. Okay, so Alex B is saying that he's dying for some rain here in the Northeast. I haven't been able to deviate from the irrigation schedule pretty much all spring. Very dry and unseasonably hot as well. So that's interesting, Alex, because here in Georgia, it's warm. It's definitely hot, but we've been getting quite a bit of rain. Or compared to last year, I want to say this year feels like we've been getting rain more evenly spaced out. That may just be my perception, but it seems like we've been getting rain more often. Any of you guys that have like an irrigation app up, you can probably fact check me on that. But yeah, down here we're getting enough rain that the grass is looking okay. Chef Kevin's in the house. What's going on, Kevin? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. And let's see what else we got here. Okay, so the Left Tool, of course, has got to give me a hard time. He says, "Wow, Ron, you've been working out?" Not really. I mean, I go to karate, but outside of that, all the pain and torture I subject myself to by doing that, that's about it. And then mowing the lawn. I've been mowing a lot. I'm getting up really early. If you guys have been following the YouTube stories, you guys know that I get up really early in the morning and mow the lawn. And wrestling that greensmaster around is probably good for, probably helps some. But yeah, man, I don't think I'm like you. I mean, you guys, I saw your Instagram comment where someone was giving you a hard time about, you must be juicing or something. Because you definitely, in addition to having the nice lawn and having the nice mower, you also make sure you wear the shirt that is, that's the correct attire. You want nothing too baggy. You want to make sure it's kind of form fitting. So you look good when you're out there mowing your lawn too, right? I see what you're doing, Left Tool. I know what you guys are up to. All right, so the Longineer's in the house. Vince, what's going on, man? He says, dropping in quickly to say hi. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for coming to hang out, Vince. Really, really appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Green M, also, man, awesome. First time in the live stream. First time for me. That's awesome. Thanks for coming to hang out, Green M. Thanks for coming to hang out. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday night to do that. And then we have a question here for Diamond Shotties on what's good for Kalinga Ron. So I'm not sure what kind of grass you're dealing with, diamond shotties, but I think certainty works really, really well against various types of nutsedge slash kalinga. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I may or may not be able to, but I can show you what that looks like. That's a good option. But again, once you're getting into the big boy herbicides, the big boy, big girl herbicides, you really got to pay attention to the label. Make sure you read the label and follow the the instructions to a T as far as PPE goes, as far as all that goes, as far as like your application rates and everything. Yeah. So what I'm talking about is this certainty diamond shotties. That's a good option. If you want something a little bit milder, that's a little bit easier to apply. Not quite as good as certainty. You can also try image. Now it's going to work slower, but it is effective against nutsedge. But as far as like dropping the big hammer on some kalinga on some nutsedge, certainty is a good option. I'm not sure I have a link for that, but just go to Do My Own and pick it up. And yeah, that's what I would go with. But again, read the instructions if you're gonna go with that herbicide. Definitely read the instructions. Okay, great question. All right, so we got Nate Dogg in the house. Like, is it the Nate Dogg, or is it like just someone that really likes Nate Dogg? No, probably not, right? We got Effortless Craze in the house. What's going on, Effortless Craze? Thanks for coming to hang out. I think you're new to the live stream. I haven't seen that name before, so if you're new, welcome. And let's see what else we got here. So Up New York Lawn has another question. He says, would you use only sand to seed bent grass or Bermuda or mix with topsoil or compost? That's a good question. Again, I've never really seeded a green, but if with you going for what you're trying to do, I would try and make sure the material is as clean as possible up New York Lawn. To seed it, I would probably go with a 70-30 mix. If it were just me, if it just that's what I would try. If you have access to super sod, which you don't in New York, you're not going to have access to that. But if you can get a very good clean sand and clean top dressing mix and clean topsoil blend, that's probably what I would use. Left Tool, if he's still in the house, he can always chime in and let you know what he would recommend and what he would use. I think they have a putting green as well. The big thing I'd say is once you have it established, you're going to want to mainly stick with sand as far as top dressing to keep it flat. Like whenever golf courses are top dressing their greens, they're not using like a blend of any sort. In most cases, they're just using straight sand, right? So yeah, that's the only thing. That's the best advice I can give you. But yeah, definitely let us know how it goes, man. And I did find a link for that Diamond Shotties. If you haven't ordered it as yet, let me give it to you here at Diamond Shotties. There is your link to Certainty if you decide to go forward with that. And if you're going with Image, you can just get it at like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever goes. But yeah, man, I don't have a best answer for you. But for me, I would do a 70-30 mix up New York Lawn. Okay, Static Alpha's in the house. What's going on, sir? Always nice to see you. He says, hey, Ron, I have 2 yards of sand in my driveway as we speak. Part of me is excited for you, and part of me, I still kind of get convulsions a little bit from all the sand that Alex and I put down. Now it's got to be 6 weeks ago at this point, but still, that was a lot of work. It was just the two of us, and it was a lot of work. And you're saying, okay, so you have 2 yards. Sod is only 3 weeks old. Am I pushing too hard? No. I'll tell you, like I've seen a couple of neighborhoods around here where they are doing like the entrance part of the neighborhood. They put down sod, and literally a couple days later, they were putting sand on it. Now, you don't want to go bury the new sod in sand, but if you go with a light top dress, you're going to be just fine. You're 3 weeks in. You should be good to go. Again, keyword is light, right? So if you saw my video on top dressing, my lawn is established, and even with it being established, I don't really go super heavy. So as long as you go nice and light, you should get a good result. As a matter of fact, the parts of my lawn that I did go heavier on are just taking longer to recover, right? So, and that also coupled with PGR is part of it as well. But I mean, it's in your case, with it being 3 weeks old, as long as you're going light, you should be good to go. The only thing I would change up Static Alpha is I probably wouldn't aerate this time around. I wouldn't want to do anything that might, end up pulling up any sod that's not fully tacked down or anything like that. But as far as putting just a little bit of sand on it, that should be just fine. Yeah, no worries there. If you want to wait a little longer, you can too, because we're still we're still early enough in the season that if you decide you're going to top dress, let me see, we're mid-June. If you wanted to wait till after July 4th, you want to give it a month, 6 weeks, that's going to be fine too. But if you want to go now, there's no issue there. Like I said, I've literally seen lawns or areas top dressed like literally days after the sod was put down, and it looked absolutely great. Grew through it just fine, and it was fine. So yeah, your call, but you're good to go now if you wanted to. All right, next question we got is from Alex B chiming in. You said, "Hey Ron, which fertilizer and micronutrients from the golf course lawn store are your go-tos for the summer? And do you alter your program with the summer heat uptick?" Great question. As far as my fertilizer of choice, the one that I use is this guy. It's Turfplex. It's a 20-3. You look at this, you're going to say, man, 20% nitrogen. That sounds like a lot. But with that, I remember I'm only applying that at the absolute lowest rate. The lowest rate on the label for Turfplex is 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet, and that puts it down 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen when you do that. So it's not very much. Because I also mix it with the carbon kit, so with like the Release Zero, the NutriKelp, the BioSpectrum, those products, and they tend to supercharge anything that you apply, especially anything that's being uptake foliarly. I actually back it down a little bit. I mean, anywhere between 4 to 6 ounces, because I've been playing with it some. You can go down to 4 ounces per 1,000 and still get a great result. So what I will do, Alex B, is I will use Turfplex as the staple. Like that's the foundation for the liquid fert. And because it contains iron, zinc, and manganese, what I will do as a filler is the Nutrizolve. So Ecologel also makes a product called Nutrizolve. And actually I can show you this. Well, I'm sitting here talking about it the whole time. I'm not showing you what I'm talking about. So we can actually go here. And so this is the fertilizer that I'm talking about, the Turfplex, this guy. That's when you saw me just pull off the shelf. So this is a great option. And again, you don't need to go heavy. I promise you, like more is not better when it comes to fertilizer, especially liquid fertilizer. And this one for the very light rate, you're going to get a really good result. I couple that with Nutrizolve, which is, I think I've got it here somewhere. Yep, this guy. So this is not a, this contains no NPK, right? So Nutrizolve is strictly a micronutrient. It contains 2% iron and it contains the full suites, your copper, your boron, your zinc, a bit of everything. So I use those two together. What I tend to do is because the Turfplex already has some of the micronutrients in it, I go lower on the rate for the Nutrizolve, right? So the Nutrizolve rate calls for, again, 6 ounces per 1,000, but I don't apply it at that rate. With that one, I'll do like 3 to 4 ounces per 1,000 when I mix it with the Turfplex, because I'm already getting, I think it's 2% iron in the Turfplex. I'm getting another 2% iron in the Nutrizolve. So really, I'm just using it as a filler for the boron, the copper, and a little bit more zinc. So the two of those together work great. And as far as changing the program, not really. I don't alter it for the summer because again, I tend to go as low as I can on nitrogen. I don't put a ton of nitrogen into my lawn. What I will do is I will apply that Turfplex, that concoction, so the Turfplex and the Nutrizolve at the beginning of the month. So let's say we're going into July, right? At the beginning of July, you would apply the Turfplex and the Nutrizolve, that blend, the Turfplex at 6 ounces per 1,000, the Nutrizolve mixed with it at say 4 ounces per 1,000. And then 15 days later, the middle of July, you could repeat that again. Right, so that covers you from a liquid standpoint. That's going to make sure you get nice, even growth, nice, even color. And then as my base fertilizer, like as far as the foundation, what I use is the Humic Max. Right, so this guy. So I can show you that real quick. So this is my Granular that I go with, the Country Club 1608. And again, this guy goes down at the absolute lowest rate. The rate on the bag for this, there's two rates. There's a rate that's 0.9 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000. I don't get anywhere near that. I apply this at 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. And what that does is it puts down about half a pound of nitrogen in the lawn. And then you take that half a pound of N, you're getting like another, a tenth of a pound from the Turfplex. And it's plenty. It doesn't sound like very much, but again, the lawn does really, really well with it because you got that foliar, which is a very quick uptake. And then the Humic Max is also relatively quick release, right? So it's like 65% quick release, 35% slow release. So it's the two of them work together really, really well to feed the lawn, get really nice color, really nice response without causing too much surge growth. So that would be my recommendation. That's what I'm going to be doing. And that's what I've done in years past on my lawn. I wasn't using Turflex last year, but the same type of thing. Those same levels is what I was going for. So great question. That's a great question about fertilizer and summer months, because I mean, there's a lot of I won't say a lot, but there's a lot of talk sometimes of people saying that don't fertilize your lawn during the summer months. Don't do that. It's bad for your lawn. And for cool season grass, there is some truth to that, right? So the cool season lawns are beginning to see stress. So and in some cases they will when they get too hot, they'll actually begin going dormant for the summer months, and they'll wake up again in the fall. So when the lawn's trying to go dormant, kind of like with Bermuda in the fall, you don't want to be slamming Bermuda or Zoysia with a ton of nitrogen in the fall when it's trying to go dormant. Same thing with cool season grass. So if you have a cool season lawn, you are going to want to back off on fertilizing if you fertilize at all. You could probably turn off your fertilization program until August, September rolls around when the lawn's beginning to wake up again. But for warm season grass, again, your Bermuda, your Zoysia, your centipede, Saint Augustine, like grasses like right now that are hulking out, that are just loving life, you definitely want to feed them. You don't want to give them too much, but you want to make sure they have the right enough nutrients to be able to do well. Great question. Hopefully that helps. And if you have any other questions, definitely drop them in and let me know. All right. Murph says, I think he's talking about mowing, says, every 5 days is good for me, but every day, definitely not about that life. It's definitely a level of commitment, Murph. It's, every 5 days, if you're mowing tall, could be okay. But I mean, really twice a week is what you want for, the best possible result on your lawn, for a great looking lawn. All right. So we have a question here about PGR. Jeremy White's chiming in. He says, how soon is T-Nex waterproof? Trying to figure out when to put down some this weekend before family trip to Mexico this week. How soon before it's waterproof? Really, if you can give it like 6 hours, you're good to go. So what I would do is, if you were going to get rain, say in the afternoon, or in the evening, if you applied it in the morning, you're good to go. Even better is if you can get an entire day, like full 24-hour period without any kind of rain, Jeremy. But again, remember, when you apply T-Nex, it takes a couple of days to kick in. So what I would, if it were me, here's what I would do. If you're going to plan to go to Mexico, let's say you're going next week Friday. I have no idea when you're going. Let's say it's next week Friday. What I would do is I would apply T-Nex probably Monday of next week, and then and that's going to give it plenty of time to be absorbed, and do your next your mow right before you leave for the trip on Thursday. That's also going to knock off like any kind of, the green, the yellow haze of bronzing effect that you get from it. And then you're going to give the lawn a mow after the PGR is in full effect and is working well. That's what I would do. I would give yourself 4 to 5 days prior to when you're leaving is when I would put down the T-Nex on the lawn. That's what I would go with. Great question. All right, next level lawn care says, "Dang, warm season guys are just loving this weather, aren't you?" Hey, you know what? You got to give us. Let us have this time of the year on next level lawn care. I mean, all you cool season guys, and I'm assuming you are, but think about it. Cool season guys get the best of both worlds, right? They get a green lawn in the spring, they get a break during the summer months, so they have to get out and really mow when it's hottest, and they get another season like in the fall. So cool season, you guys have no reason to complain whatsoever. You guys are like the spoiled bunch when it comes to like, getting, having the most fun with your lawn throughout the growing season. With us warm season guys, it's like slow, it ramps up, and then we try to hold on as long as we can, whereas you guys got to get 2 peaks throughout the year, which is kind of cool. So yes, we are enjoying our warm weather right now. Thank you very much. All right. Robert Rainey says, really enjoying these Friday nights. I appreciate that, Robert. Thank you so much. Gets you that nice hole, that nice high finish in your avatar there. Very cool, sir. And guys, while I take a sip of my lemonade, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, I know we are only about 45 minutes in. I know it's a bit early to ask, but if you guys are enjoying this, if you would touch that like button ever so gently, it's free for you guys. It's a great way to support the channel, and it gives me something to do. Gives you guys something to do while I take a sip of my lemonade. Thank you so much. Oh. All right. So a question that Murph has a follow-up. He says he's going to be putting down Yard Mastery Double Dark for me today. Awesome, Murph. That's good. It's a great fertilizer. I've not personally tried it, but what I see on Instagram from following like Yard Mastery and other people that just like love the fert and they tag them in it, it looks like people are getting really, really good results with it. So that's awesome. Glad that you are having a good result with it. Okay, so we got a question here from Mark Roser, and I'm sorry for saying your last name wrong, Mark. I apologize. He says, "Can you use T-Nex on less than 1 year old Bermuda sod?" Sure. Yep. Yeah. That's no issues with that at all, Mark. I guess once you're in the growing season, so let's say you put down T-Nex. You didn't say less than 1 year. I'm not sure what we're talking about. If we're talking about like a couple of weeks, I wouldn't do it then. But if you're saying that you put it down, say in December, or even like December or late last year, you're good to go with it on your sod on your lawn this spring. There's no issue with that at all. Again, the big thing with T-Nex is follow the application rate. Like whereas with fertilizer, you can take some liberties. You can kind of jockey a little bit higher or lower on application rates depending on what you're trying to do. T-Nex, it's like kind of like with herbicides and pesticides and fungicides. Like label is law with T-Nex. Right? You really got to follow the label to get a good result. So I don't. You said you have Bermuda. In your case, you're going to be on that 0.25 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So a quarter of an ounce per 1,000 square feet. I'm not sure when you join the live stream, but if you have, say, a 4,000 square foot lawn, we're going to use the mythical 4,000 square foot lawn because that makes the math easier for me. You're going to be only putting down, so you see I have my 32 fluid ounce container here. You're going to be putting in that much T-Nex, literally that first mark. That's what you're going to be doing with 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet. But yeah, should be good to go, sir. Congrats on the new lawn, and hopefully that works for you. All right. So Thomas Tucker says, "I am using Country Club 1608 all summer. I'm very impressed with their Mesa technology." It is really cool, Thomas. Like the one thing that that's really cool about not just the Humic Max, but any of the Mesa fertilizer, the methylene urea fertilizers that Lebanon Turf puts out, is that the prill in that is homogeneous. And what that means is a big word that means that it's all in one, right? It's all wrapped into one. So all the blue, so I can get this focus, all the blue that you see in there, that's the Mesa, that's their slow release nitrogen. And the nice thing about it is, whereas you think like some fertilizers that are like polymer coated, if you get out there, you step on them, so you crush it, so you crush the coating, or you hit it with your lawnmower blade, it's no longer slow release, right? It's going to release, quickly. Whereas with the Mesa, the methylene urea that Lebanon Turf uses in Humic Max, but also some of their other fertilizers, doesn't matter if you break up any of those blue prills into bigger pieces or smaller pieces, doesn't really matter. It releases at the same rate, right? So that's really, really good. Like I said, I switched their fertilizers a couple of years ago, and it's been awesome stuff. I haven't I'm not switching away. I can't see myself changing granular ferts. Liquid ferts may or may not, that's something that may or may not change. But I mean, I'm really happy with Lebanon Turf granulars, and the Turfplex is really good stuff. I was telling Jim when I was on the phone with him, I said, dude, the application rates you guys have, you could even go a little bit lower because it doesn't take much to get a really good response with it. And some of what you're seeing also, Thomas, remember with that Humic Max, you also have that 8.9% humic acid in there. So that's also going to help with just improving the soil biology, helping improve nutrient uptake. So it's an all-in-one. It's like a combination fertilizer. Love the fertilizer. And if anyone from Lebanon Turf is watching this, I'm not sure if you guys are, if you watch the live stream at all, thank you guys so much for taking a chance on DIY and allowing us to make it available to the community. Because it's everyone that's been trying it out loves it. I love it. And hopefully you guys will let us bring some more of your products to the DIY community, because we like the good stuff too. You guys make the good stuff and we like the good stuff, right? Awesome. Thomas, thank you so much. I'm glad that you are having a great result. All right, so David Polanco says he's changing it up. He says, for the summer, I'm helping out the crew at Yard Mastery with some Freedom 1776. I got to tell you, from a marketing standpoint, like 1776 for a fertilizer is brilliant, right? It's really, really cool. It's got magnesium, chelated iron, and bionite, and you got Saint Augustine. Yeah, but I mean, I have not seen the results on it as yet. But I'm sure, as because Alan and the guys at Yard Mastery just released it. But I'm sure you guys are gonna be trying that out, are gonna be posting the pictures, and I'm like any of the other Yard Mastery ferts. I'm sure you guys are gonna get a really good result with it. So really, really cool. Very nice, man. Congrats on the new Yard Mastery hotness. Okay, so let's see. Ped Junk has a question. It says, so it's 108 degrees out here, but by Tuesday it's down to 79. How will it affect my slight salad bar with Bermuda? It shouldn't affect things too much. I mean, 108 is pretty warm. Depending on the weeds may get stressed somewhat from that. But I mean, depending on if it's only like one day or a couple of days, it's normally not enough to do any serious damage. The Bermuda is going to be just fine. I would make sure, kind of like what I was telling the other gentleman earlier about watering. Make sure you're getting an inch of water per week on the Bermuda. I mean, you can look at the grass and you can see what it needs. You can see if it looks stressed, and you may need to go a little bit heavier, or if it rains, you can go lighter. But as long as you're kind of following that rule of an inch of water per week, and you're also using things like moisture managers like Hydrotain, those can go a long way to really improving, the grass's ability to resist really hot temperatures. And something else I haven't even spoken about tonight as yet, but if you guys are not on that Carbon Pro G kick, if you guys have not tried out that product, or the product that you can get in the golf course lawn store, Essential G, this is something you should also want to consider as well, as far as something that can help improve your soil in like a bunch of different ways, between the compost, the biochar, the humic acid that's in it. I mean, it's just really also an excellent product to consider adding to your lawn care program, assuming that you don't have like a Site One nearby and can't get like Carbon Pro G nearby. Okay, but yes, your lawn should be just fine, Peg Junk. Okay, Nate Dogg has a question here. He says, hey Ron, I seeded my lawn 3 weeks ago. How soon can I fertilize my newly seeded lawn? Do you recommend any particular brand of fertilizer for new grass? Okay, so you could have put down like a starter fert whenever you got things going. What I would have probably used is something, I don't know if I have it here. You can use like a 12, something like this. I could actually bring that up. Like the Yard Mastery 12. I'll bring that up here so you can see this, Nate Dogg. Like something like this would be a good option. This guy here is a really balanced fertilizer, and with a full micronutrient stack, something like that would be a good option for a lawn that's just growing in. If you want something more on the liquid route, you can go with Bloomplex, right? So I've got it here. I've got a bottle of it here. So this has only 8% nitrogen in it, so low, but what it does have is that phosphorus, right? It's got 60% phosphorus in this, which is going to help with rooting. It's going to help, the new grass get established. So you give a couple of options. You can either go with the Yard Mastery with the 12 if you want a granular, really easy to apply. If you prefer to spray your lawn, or do your fertilization with through liquids, then that Bloomplex is also a great choice too. Whenever I top dressed my lawn in May, I used the Bloomplex the day after. When I did like I did my PGR and everything else, Bloomplex is what I used instead of Turfplex for that one application. Again, the lawn responded really nicely. And as far as it being, even though it's designed to be foliar absorbed, like me applying that to my lawn did reflect in the soil test results that I took a month later. So even though it's really a foliar product, if you spray it, you're still going to get some benefits to your soil with that. So you got a couple of different options. Either one of those, the Yard Master, the 12, or the Bloomplex, are both good options. I'd go just choose which one you want and roll with it. And both of those are available at the golf course lawn store. Both excellent choices. Great question, man, and congrats on your newly seeded lawn. Should be fun. You didn't say what kind of seed you did, but I'm guessing maybe Arden-15 or something. Seems like a lot of people are going for that here lately. Okay, Robert Wallace says, hey Ron, I'm also using the Humic Max. I also love the Prill Size. Yep, that's one of the best things about it. Again, what he's talking about for Prill Size, for anyone that's new and is just now getting into the lawn game, and the Prill Size is the size of these little pebbles. And what you really want, the nice thing about Humic Max is that it's what you call a very small prill. And the nice thing about that is that if you have, let's say you're already real mowing your lawn, or your lawn is fairly dense, this will get down through the canopy, will get past the grass down to the soil where it can begin working. So a smaller prill is really nice from that standpoint. So I'm glad you're getting good results with it. Robert, very, very good. If I can help with anything, definitely let me know. Okay, Clayton is using a Sunnyland 24011. Very cool. Got it on sale. Can't beat that. Can't beat getting stuff on sale, right? And you got the recommendation from BYD. And guys, if you guys enjoyed the live stream, and this is, if you guys were here last week, whenever BYD, when Michael Bowman was on the live stream, if you guys really enjoyed that and want to see him come back again, give me a like. Give me a like, and also let me like a yes or something in chat. Just let me know, because it was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun. I'd like to do it again. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to convince BYD. I'll probably have to give it a couple of weeks at least, because he was going to do an hour and we ended up at almost 4. So he's probably recovering, or he's probably going to have a contract he's going to have to have me sign saying no longer than this time period. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed BYD, definitely let me know in the chat. Oh yeah, so Murtel said he's going with the Anderson's PGF Complete. Good fert. A lot of people seem to like that. So yeah, awesome. I'm glad that you are that you're rolling with something good. All right, so we have a question here from Lysandra Alson. She says, I have weeds and fungus in my lawn. Which should I tackle first when it comes to killing in my yard? Thanks. Weed or fungus? I mean, like you can do both of them at the same time, Lysandra. There's not really, in other words, if you're going to put down a fungicide, like that's not going to like necessarily affect your ability to target weeds. So yeah, you can do them both. It's kind of your call. This time of year, if I had to choose, I would probably I would get the fungus under control. I would definitely put down something for lawn fungus because we're entering the season. I don't know where in the country you are, you didn't say, but if you're in Georgia, like we're getting a lot of heat now, and it's the time of year where you take the heat and then the rains that we're getting, you mix those two together, and that does a lot towards really creating conditions where fungus can really take root. So for a fungicide, I'm not sure what your if you have a broadcast spreader, but a fungicide, the one that I would recommend if all you're looking for is a fungicide is Headway G. Headway G it contains 2 active ingredients, so it's like 2 fungicides in one. The first active ingredient is azoxystrobin, and the second is propiconazole. So you have 2 different modes of action, 2 different ways that this product will target the fungus and kill it and suppress it. Right, so that's what I would go with. I'll put a link here for you in the live stream. Let's see, it's at Lysandra. There we go. That is what I would go with for the lawn fungus. As far as for the weeds, you can't beat Spectracide. Spectracide is a great product. I think there's a restriction on Spectracide when temps get too high. I think it's like 90 degrees is when you don't want to spray it. But what I'm talking about for your weeds is going to be this guy here. So the nice thing about Spectracide for weed stop, this will kill, they say on the label 470 weeds. And the reason why it can do that is it's really a mixture of multiple types of herbicides, right? So it's a blend of a lot of herbicides that are effective against a lot of different types of weeds. So this is what I would go with for your weed killer, assuming that you have Bermuda grass. If you got Bermuda or Zoysia, you're good to go with this. If you have like Saint Augustine or Centipede, you don't want to use this. There is an option in this Spectracide in the Weed Stop family, but just not that particular one with the orange label. But if you got Bermuda or Zoysia, that's the one to go. The real restriction, again, if memory serves me, I think you don't want to apply it if temperatures are over 90 degrees, but that is the one that I would go with. So for fungus, use a Headway G. That's an excellent fungicide. And then for weed control, just something that's a really broad spectrum that's going to take care of a lot of the weed problems that you could run into, I would go with the Weed Stop. Easy and really accessible. I mean, it's really cheap. You can normally find it for $10, $12 a bottle at Home Depot, Lowe's, your big box store of your choice. Great question. Hopefully that helps. If you have anything else, let me know. We'll revisit it. All right. Okay, so Alex B is saying, with this summer, I'm committing to getting more and more biochar down using that monthly application schedule you recommended to me, Ron. Yes, it's definitely a good thing. The thing with biochar, and kind of like with Essential G as well, is that unlike products that contain NPK in them, right? That it contains like nitrogen, where you put it down and you immediately see a color response from it. Like if any response that you see from Essential G or from Carbon Pro G is initially, if it's within the first couple of weeks, is probably coming from the compost that's in those products, right? But the best way to think about those products that's really good is that they're like an investment in your soil. Like if you guys saw what my soil looks like, I'm not sure if my soil have it here. I don't think so. Actually, it's in the one with BYD. So no, I don't have the image here. But if you guys saw my video on getting my sprinkler heads replaced, in there I took out there's a sample, a big chunk of soil, probably 8-10 inches of soil came out, and you can see how dark and vibrant that the area near the surface is, and that's from the top dressing and the carbon and the Essential G, like putting those things into the soil to really help build really nutrient-rich soil. So yeah, doing it every month if you can is going to be great. The nice thing about Essential G and Carbon Pro G is that you can load up on them. Really, there's not really a limit on how much of it you can put down. Not reasonably anyway. The biggest limit is just your pocketbook, right? Like how much money can you afford to spend on putting this stuff in your lawn? But yeah, monthly is a great plan. That's still what I'm doing. And yeah, if you guys saw my video on when I got my irrigation system, my controller upgraded. If you look in the background carefully, you can see some bags of Essential G sitting there, ready to go down. So yeah, I definitely practice what I tell you guys. All right. Okay, so let's see. So Timothy said he's going to go with last for it was the Country Club 1608, and you're going to either go with that for the summer or the new Yard Mastery Freedom 1776. You could use the phosphorus. Yeah, if you need the phosphorus, you can't go wrong with the Yard Mastery. It's a nice balance. It's not necessarily balanced, but it's a fert that has some phosphorus if you need that based on your soil test results. Very good. Okay, so Papa Mo's Low has a question here, and he says, okay, Bermuda grass, been using Flagship 2406 one time per month with your carbon package, and the Turfplex twice a month. Sounds good, like what I'm hearing so far. Changing to Pro Pete 1704 for the summer. How much Turfplex do you recommend with each app? Okay, so with the Turfplex, that rate is not really going to change. You're going to want to go light. The big thing is, the tenth of a pound rate, so that's 6 ounces per 1,000 Papa Mo's Low is what we're going to still want to stick with. What I would do is I would adjust the application rate of, you said you're going to Pro Pete, of whatever that needs to be to get you to, that half a pound or so per 1,000. So your 1704 is pretty close to humic max. So I can tell you around 3 pounds per 1,000 thereabouts is going to be in the ballpark for mixing nicely with the Turfplex. So yeah, so it's close enough to humic max that 3 pounds per 1,000 should give you a pretty good result. I have not really looked into that fertilizer to know what the makeup of it is, to know like how much of it is quick release versus slow release. But again, just from a purely just pounds of nitrogen going into the lawn, 3 pounds per 1,000 should be just fine. And if you guys are wondering what he's talking about as far as the carbon package consists of 3 things. I've got them here. So you've got the Release Zero, the Release Zero from Miramichi Green. This is 10% micronized carbon. You can mix this with anything, any liquid product you're putting down on your lawn. So fungicides, herbicides. Definitely fertilizer works really well with that. And the second part of it is NutriKelp, which is this is 24% kelp. It contains a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of phosphorus, just a taste of each, and then some potassium. Between these 2 products, you're putting down 12% micronized carbon, which again is only going to do awesome things for your soil. And then the last component of it, and I move this here because it's easier for me to show you guys, you're not going to get a bag this big, but is the BioSpectrum. What this is a microbial package that adds microbial food and healthy bacteria that's going to help break down and make any fertilizers that you apply to your lawn available to the grass. So those 3 are what make up the carbon package that Papa Mo's Low is referring to, and you can get them at the Golf Course Lawn Store. That goes down on my lawn every single month. Great point, Papa Mo's Low. Thanks for letting us know. Okay, and then Thomas Tucker says, does anyone know where I can find the MD variant of the Lebanon Turf Country Club fertilizer? Yeah, so the MD, I think that's maximum dispersion. I want to say, Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the maximum dispersion, like the MD branding, is what they use in their greens grade fertilizers. So the ones that have like the SGN of like 80, it's almost like a powder. So if you think this stuff is fine, if you think like the 150 SGN, the stuff that's at the humic max is small, the greens grade stuff is even finer. It's almost like powder going down on the lawn. And I want to say that the MD variant is for the greens grade fertilizer. So you got to find a place near you that carries those. You're not going to really find those online. I know that you really have to go to like, I don't even know if site one's going to have it, but you're just going to have to look around and see if anyone carries that particular variant of it. I believe the maximum dispersion is kept for their greens grade fertilizers. Hopefully that helps. I know that if you're in the Northeast Georgia area, I believe Central Turf and Irrigation carries one. They carry a Country Club 22016 that has that is that. But if you're somewhere else in the country, I can't help you out. There's not, just call around. But again, like Humic Max is actually really good. So, if you can't find any of the MD ones, go with Humic Max. You are not going to be disappointed with the results you get with it. Okay. Effortless Craze chiming in, I think a new viewer perhaps. It says, I'm in Southeast North Carolina and work second shift, and I use manual sprinklers. So my question is, when should I water? Okay, so ideally to get the most out of your watering, I am a fan of watering early in the morning. So there are people that will give you ask like a bunch of people have this question, you'll get different answers. The time, the closer you can water to early in the morning, so before the sun really comes up and is really beating down on the lawn to where it's going to just evaporate a lot of the water, is what I tend to aim for. My irrigation is set to run at 5 a.m.-ish, thereabouts, these days. So because here in Georgia, the sun's coming up sooner now because it's summertime. And I get a good result with that. Obviously, you're not going to get up at 5 in the morning and bring your manual sprinklers out. So I would say earlier in the day is better. If you can't do early in the day, second shift. I'm not sure when second shift is. I should know. I think I'm not sure when that is. I think is that 3 to midnight. So yeah. So in your case, if you're home early in the morning, do it then. That would be the time. When you don't want to do it, effortless craze is like in the middle of the day. Not mainly because you're just not going to get as much out of the water because it's going to be hot, and a lot of it's just you're going to lose a lot of it to evaporation instead of it getting down on the grass, getting it into the soil and getting it soaking in where it really is going to do the most benefit. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for chiming in. I'm guessing you're a new viewer, and if so, again, welcome. Always fun to see new people in the live stream. Okay, Kenneth Atchison say, yeah, it's really hot in Georgia early this year. Yeah, it's I would say early. I mean, we had some spells here. It's been weird. Like even today, like the temps are weird. Like it woke up this morning when I was out mowing, it was 64 degrees, and then it ramped up to like I think in the 90s. So it's a pretty big swing throughout the day here in Georgia. So, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's really hotter this time of year than it was last year. Again, you guys can check and see if that's the case, but it doesn't, compared to last year, I want to say it doesn't feel like it. Okay, Troy Ridley says, can I use the 12 in the summer months or should I just use Milorganite? You can use the 12, Troy Ridley. There's no issue with that. Again, go with a low rate with that 12, 3 pounds per thousand. That's going to be a nice light rate. It's going to be plenty of nitrogen to feed the lawn. And if you want to go to Milo, you can too. That's going to work well because in the summer months, the nice thing about Milo, right, is that there's going to be lots of heat in the soil. So like the microbial activity, the engine that really breaks down Milo and makes it available to the grass, like it's going to work really well during summer months. So either one, you can do either one of them. I mean, I would probably go 12, but if you want Milo, if you just you like that, you can actually find it because Milo is getting really hard to find these days. Then go with that. You can't go wrong with either one of them. Both of them are excellent choices. I would probably do the 12 though if it were me. Okay, Murtel says, for real mowers, is it okay to wash them down after you cut the grass? I have a swarmer that I just got. It gets messy, but I'm afraid to wash the reel and drum. Thanks. I wash mine down every time after I mow. So yes, I don't own a Swordman, so I don't know if they have any restrictions around watering. I know their belt system, it's pretty enclosed. It should be fine. But I clean my mower after every time I cut with it, mainly because I mow early in the morning. I tend to mow early in the morning and it gets messy. Like it gets clippings and clumps all over it. If you want to see what it looks like, Murtel, it's only on the mobile app, but get on my YouTube stories. It's only on mobile. So you're not gonna be able to find it on your desktop. Like go to YouTube, look up, I'm not sure how you can access it. I think it's like Ron Henry and then like YouTube stories. You'll see, sometimes when I'm doing those are kind of more ad hoc. Hey, here's what's going on in the lawn today. Here's how the grass plots are going in. Here's the big mess the mower has, and here's how I'm going to clean it up. That kind of stuff. You can actually see how messy the mower gets from mowing it when the grass is wet. And yes, I do rinse it off. I don't leave grass clippings all over it. So yeah, you absolutely can do that. At least with a Greensmaster and a True Cut, you can do it with no issue. With a Swordman, I would imagine it's the same thing. So yeah, no issues there at all. Okay, let's see what other questions we got. A Carnus is saying he's putting down nitrogen and phos super turf once every 2 months. Carbon Pro G at 10 pounds per 1,000 and Carbon Pro L at 2 ounces per 1,000 monthly. Sounds like a great plan, sir. You're gonna get a good result with that. Sounds like a really, really good plan. All right. So Papa Mo's Low says, I meant to mention that Petra Tools wants me to try their liquid iron product. Do I need to leave any of your carbon package out of my apps when I do? No, you don't. The only thing I would do is if you are, because none of the carbon kit has any iron in it, right? So you can still mix those. What I would do is I would do a test. I would probably put a little bit of the Release Zero, the NutriKelp in a jar and mix it with the liquid iron product they're talking about and see if it mixes. I have yet to encounter anything that the Mirimichi Green products does not mix well with. As far as like it mixing well with other types of stuff, there's never been any issues that I've come across at this point. The only thing I might do is if you are using Turfplex, I might go lighter with the liquid iron because the Turfplex already has like 2% iron in it. So I'm not sure what the rate of that product. I'm not familiar with the product or what their application rate is that they recommend. But just know that you're already getting some. Make sure that whatever liquid fert you're using doesn't already contain iron in it, so you're not going to go crazy heavy with it. Plus, if you want it to be a really good test, ideally you'd only apply that, right? You wouldn't want to apply something else with iron in it because you don't necessarily know what is doing what. So something to keep in mind. But as far as the carbon kit, no problem whatsoever. Shouldn't be an issue at all to mix it with that liquid iron product. Definitely let us know how it goes, man. Do an Instagram story or something like that, or take a picture. Let us know how it works out. All right. Oh, we have guys from overseas chiming in the house. I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to mess this up. It's going to be Hueger. I think I'm going to try. Sorry if I mess up your name. Says, hey, nice to be back. Glad to see you again, sir. Says, couldn't make it the last 3 weeks. Greetings from Germany, Matt. Okay, so you put like Wicker in there, but it's Matt. Okay, so thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Glad to have you back. It's always fun to have people from overseas hanging out. What's funny is that I've actually been getting a lot more viewers from Australia that I've been following both the YouTube stories in the morning and also some of the content. I didn't think about it, but you think about it, like in Australia, they're going into their winter months, so they're kind of jonesing for I guess lawn care content because they can't get out there and mow. So both in Europe and Australia, believe it or not, that's where I'm seeing a lot of people that have been reaching out and saying, hey man, we like the content, keep going and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much from Germany. I guess it is, I don't know, it's 6 hours ahead, so it's probably 1 in the morning, at least 1 in the morning there. But I appreciate you, Matt. Thanks for coming to hang out. Always cool. Mo D says, how do you feel about Milorganite? My soil is bad, hard, soggy, or super dry clay, nothing between. So you can't talk bad about it. Listen, now, Mo, if you have that kind of a feeling about your soil, how do you expect it to get better? You can't go out in the lawn and tell the soil, you're just hard, soggy, you're just super dry, you're no good. You can't talk down your soil like that. You have to encourage it. You have to have positive vibes when you're dealing with your soil. You says you aerated and put down topsoil, but it's not looking good. It takes a while, Mo. It does take a while. So if you aerated, if you did a good job aerating, you really beat the lawn up, so you made passes in a couple directions, Milorganite's a good option. If you can actually find it, again, I don't have anything negative to say about Milorganite other than it's really hard to find. Like my local Home Depot doesn't have it anymore. They have this new thing, Earth Scraps, like it's a blue bag of in the Milorganite aisle, or when they get it, it sells out really quickly. And second, starting last year, it got more expensive. Like all you guys are, buying it up, and that's made the price go up, which for my lawn, I think an application for my lawn ends up costing me around $110, which is, not cheap, not great. And frankly, like it doesn't compare to Humic Max, which is, much cheaper than Milorganite. It's just the two, you can't even really compare them, right? Like as far as like the quality of the nitrogen, the quality of, it's got, potassium in it. I'm not putting phosphorus on my lawn every time I apply it. And it's got the humic acid. So that's why I switched away from it. But if you have Milo, it's a great product. Modi, I would put it down on your lawn and just see what happens. Just realize it's going to take a while, right? It's going to take a while. If you just aerated, in addition to Milo, consider incorporating like some Essential G. So this product, if you don't have a Site 1 near you, if I can find it here quickly. So consider incorporating this into your lawn as well. That's going to help improve your soil. It's going to help improve just the grass in general. It's going to do a lot to help improve your lawn. Or if you have a Site 1 nearby, you can go with Carbon Pro G. You can save yourself a little bit of money because you're not paying shipping, but Essential G is an excellent product. It's like Carbon Pro G 2.0, right? It's the new kid on the block as far as like granular soil amendment technology from Miramichi Green. But yeah, you should be good to go. Throw the Milo down, water it in, and just wait. And you'll get some greenage, right? Lawn's going to do really good. All right, Helmet Ruckus is in the house. What's going on, Helmet? Always nice to see you here. And Daryl is saying it's green, but I'll wait. Yes, Daryl was the one that asked the question about applying PGR after after doing the over application. So yeah, waiting is good. I would do that, Daryl. I might wait just to see a little bit of surge growth. Yeah, it's not great to see the lawn come out of regulation, but I might wait for that because then I'll know, hey, that application is fully worn off. The over application is done. And then when you go back with the right rate, you're being completely safe to get a good result on the lawn. Okay, and then Alex B is another, another checkbox saying that biochar and humic acid helps the soil tremendously. There you go. So yeah, if you can, incorporate again, it's that Essential G or Carbon Pro G, or even like again, if you get away from Milorganite and go with like the Humic Max, you're putting in almost 9% humic acid into your soil with every fertilizer application. So something else to consider too. That's available at the Golf Course Lawn Store, but just to let you know. All right, so Eric Draper says, always run your stuff, love your stuff, Ron. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. I mean, it's always fun that you guys watch the content, even the videos that are a lot more niche. Like I've done a couple of videos this week on like irrigation stuff that's like, replacing sprinkler heads and upgrading controller. Not really mass market type videos, but it's stuff that you guys have asked for. And I wanted to get that in the content catalog. So even though it doesn't get like a ton of views, it's something that you guys find value out of. For the few people that actually need that information, I'm glad that I got it done. And I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the content. I appreciate every view and comment that you guys make to my videos. Thanks so much. All right, Philip Hudson has a question about a lawn care service. He says, hey, I have a lawn care service that treats my lawn every 4 weeks. Between their applications, what should I do besides cut and water my lawn in between applications? So without knowing what they're doing every month, Philip, I am afraid to tell you about putting any kind of fertilizer on your lawn. The one thing I'm almost positive they're not doing is they're not putting down any kind of soil amendment like granular carbon or liquid carbon products. So if you want something you can do that is going to improve the quality of your soil, going to help your lawn, consider the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit. Again, it's these guys. It's Release Zero, NutriKelp, and the Bio Spectrum. It does require a backpack sprayer to apply it. And what I'm talking about, I can show you here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, and then right here, this is what I'm talking about. The Carbon Kit. It's 3 products that you use them together, and regardless of what your lawn care service is putting down monthly, I'm sure they're not putting this stuff down. And this is completely safe. It's going to enhance whatever else they're doing, and you'll get a really good result with that. In addition, if you're looking for a granular product, Essential G is also good. This is safe to apply along with anything else they're doing to your lawn, and you're really good to go. So without knowing exactly what they are, what fertilizer they're using, I don't want to tell you to put down like Humic Max or even like the liquid fert, because I don't want you to, be doubling up or over applying nitrogen or things along those lines. But something you can do that's safe and that will improve the quality of your turf are those 2 products, the Carbon Kit and Essential G. I would go with either one of those. Great question. And if you find out what they're doing, Philip, and you want to, reach out to me and say, hey, I want to, I know what they're doing and I want to add something else, feel free to drop me an email. My email is ron@golfcourselawn.com. It's my email address. So shoot me an email and I'll do my best to help you out. And for those of you guys that email me today, I still have to get back to your emails. I haven't forgotten you, but anyone that emailed me today, I have not forgotten. I will go to your emails. I was really busy today with content and some other things. So that's why I didn't get to respond, but I am not ignoring you guys. Okay, next question is about Arden 15, a question that is near and dear to my heart. So Christopher van Niekerk, I wonder if you're Dutch, Niekerk, it says, I just planted Arden 15 about 16 days ago, and the crabgrass pressure is insane. Great germination though. Any tips besides manual pulling? That's what I'm gonna go with that, man. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can use to kill the crabgrass. You can use Drive Accelerate. You can use Conclorac, but given the fact that you spent all this time and money and water, everything that goes into getting Arden 15 to grow, and you're getting germination 16 days in, I would just live with it. Like on my lawn, I have crabgrass too. Like I've got little baby crabgrasses that are coming up here and there, and I just go out, every other day with my bucket, and I find one, I just kind of pluck them. They come out really easily. And that's what I'm doing because that's what I chose for this season, right? Like I said, this season, I really want to get a good result with my Arden 15 overseeding project. What that means is no pre-emergent, which means I'm going to have more weeds. And because the grass is still relatively young, I don't want to be putting down any kind of herbicides on it to knock out the crabgrass. So if it were me, Christopher, I would manually pull it. That's if you ask me my advice, that's what I would do. If you don't want to do that and you want to put down like a herbicide, you can use like the that Spectracide. So like the Spectracide Weed Stop, this guy will knock back crabgrass, but it's also going to stress the new lawn too. So if it were me, I wouldn't do that. But that's a good option if you're looking for something to knock back crabgrass and you just like, what, Bermuda should recover, I'm going for it. That's what I would use. But again, you ask me my opinion, I would just manually pull it. That's what I would do. You spent too much time and money getting the lawn to where it is now to take the chance of messing it up with an overly strong herbicide application. Jay King got a new Tiff Tough lawn arriving next week. Congratulations, sir. Always nice. I always like to hear Bermuda going in. For a while there, we had some people talking about like ripping out the Bermuda to put Zoysia in, and that was just not good. I didn't like where things were going. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong in my messaging, but I'm seeing a lot of Bermuda, like Arden 15 lawns going in, Tiff Tough going in, all good stuff. All good stuff. I like what I'm hearing. Maybe if S. Bender chimes in, she may tell me that, she's convinced yet another one of her neighbors to get rid of Bermuda and go to Zoysia. All right. Mr. Green Thumb has a question. He says, hey, it's 100 degrees temps here in Texas. Is 1 inch of water per week good enough, or should I apply a little more? You can go a little bit more because that's high. That's a lot of heat, Mr. Green Thumb. The issue is this, right? When you put down an inch of water, if you're watering it in, like say, 6 or 7 in the morning, by the time the temps ramp up, it's really going to be, that heat's really going to be pulling a lot of moisture out of the soil. So if you want to pick it up a little bit more, if you want to go to 1.5 inches or maybe add a watering day just for the time period when you have those really high temps, that's probably not a bad idea, because you want to stay ahead of it, right? You don't want to wait for the grass to get stressed before you start putting more water on it. So, it's not going to hurt anything. Don't go crazy heavy, but adding maybe another watering day or going just a little bit heavier is good advice. It's only going to cost you water, right? So if you're fine with it, I'm fine with it. But I'm sure Bermuda is looking really good with that kind of heat. 100 degree temps are nothing to sneeze at. All right. Tiff Tough Coast has a question here. He says, hey, Ron from Down Under, Australia in the house. See, like I said, my Australian contingent. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. It says, hey, Ron from Down Under, I often hear you talk about the application of N going down at the pounds per thousand rate. Can you explain the importance of this versus just applying your fert at the recommended bag rate? Reason being, Tiff Tough Coast, the reason why I pay attention to how many pounds of nitrogen per thousand goes down is because I do spoon feeding, right? Like I don't, in other words, if you just want to follow the bag rate, right? The rate that's on fertilizer bags, if all you're applying is just the fertilizer, they're in most cases going to be safe. You're going to get a good result with them. You're going to be just fine. But now, if you're doing what I'm doing, you're doing a mix and match. So I'm getting some of my nitrogen and nutrients from granular, and I'm getting some of them from liquid. So in other words, I'm applying multiple fertilizers to the lawn throughout the course of a month. Now I do a little bit of math. It's not hard math, but I have to do a few calculations to figure out, as a total, how much nitrogen do I want to give the lawn? In my case, it's around 0.7 of a pound, 6 to 0.7 of a pound per month. That's what I'm after. And now that I decide on that, how do I want to get that into the soil? How do I want to get that into the lawn? And the way that I do it is the majority of it comes from granular, from the humic max. About half a pound of that nitrogen comes from humic max. And then the remaining 0.2 of a pound come over 2 separate feedings with the Turfplex, right? So I use a liquid fert at very, very low application rates, just as like a filler to promote more consistent color and growth. So yeah, if you are going at like just straight bag rate, that's fine. The label is absolutely fine if all you are doing is that fertilizer. So in other words, if you go to the golf course lawn store, any of the fertilizers you see there, like the Yard Mastery or even like Humic Max, you'll notice on the Humic Max bag, there are 2 application rates. There's one rate or spreader settings for half a pound of nitrogen, which is comes down to 3 pounds per thousand of the actual product going down. And there's also a rate for 0.9 of a pound of nitrogen, right? So it's got a lower rate and a higher rate. I don't know why Lebanon Turf lists both on the bag. I assume, if I had to guess, that the lower rate is for what people that are doing like what I'm doing, where they're using the granular as like a base. And then the higher rate is for people where they're only using Humic Max. They're not doing anything else. So it's important to observe that. And again, it doesn't really matter. Like follow the bag rate if all you're doing is just that fertilizer. If you're mixing and matching, that's when you want to do some math to make sure you're not over applying fertilizers to the lawn. Most people don't have a problem with under applying. In most cases, it's over applying. So hopefully that helps. If not, drop me another message below and I'll revisit it. But thank you so much for watching, man. I always appreciate having viewers from overseas, especially those guys from Down Under. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We got a super chat here from Apollo. I think we've already did that one, but I'm going to go back down here and take some of the other ones that have been hanging out for a while. Hotshot King's got a super chat.
Super chat received.
He says, I just did a blanket application of Celsius WG. I'm going to do my first mow since applying. Should I bag or mulch? Not all the weeds turned brown. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I'm not sure how long it's been. How long has it been since you applied? If it's been several days, a week since the application, in other words, you've given it plenty of time, you can bag it if you want. It's probably not going to make a material difference either way, Hotshot King. But out of the two, bagging is probably the better of the two options. Just so you're not blowing. If there's any seeds that the weeds have, you're not blowing those all over the lawn. So if it were me, if you're going through the trouble of putting down, you're putting down Celsius, which is pretty strong herbicide, I would go ahead and I would bag. I would bag for the first couple of mows after you start seeing the weeds dying off, and then once you've done a couple of mows that way, go back to mulching. That is what I like to do. I prefer to mulch because there's so much nutrient in the grass clippings that's what I go for. And given how often I mow, I don't have an issue with thatch building up. We got another super chat here from Tim Borski.
Super chat received.
He says, got to make the live video. Awesome, Tim. Glad to see you here. He says, summer plan is to raise the height of cut to 1.5 inches, uneven lawn still. Now in Texas, we were at 90 degrees plus, PGF complete, and liquid stems from next going down. Awesome, sir. Sounds like a great plan. And I think I saw the man of the hour, Josh Habib's in the house. What's going on, Josh? He says,
Super chat received.
happy early Father's Day, sir or doctor. Happy to spend another Friday night with this group. Cheers, everyone. Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh, for coming to hang out in the live stream. I really appreciate all the support, sir, and for you making this week's giveaway possible. This week's giveaway product possible. So really, really cool. Thank you so much for that. All right, so let's keep going. And in a second here, I will reveal what the giveaway is going to be. I mean, we're not going to do it now, but I can show you guys and you can decide if you want to stick around or not for the giveaway, all right? So next up here, we got Chris Balducci, one of the best names. I always say like saying your last name. I don't know why. I always feel like I'm like watching an episode of The Sopranos, Balducci. Chris Balducci's in the house. What's going on, Chris? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. And then Mark Baker, he's like, I finally got the live stream. You're here, man. So ask a question. You're here. You actually got me live. So ask a question. You have to watch after the fact, right? All right. Very, very cool. All right. And then Alex B has a good question here about Turfplex. He says, hey, Ron, roughly how many square feet does the Turfplex gallon cover? Roughly about 21,000 square feet, if memory serves me correctly, Alex B. You get about 21,000 square feet of coverage out of it at the lower rate. So that's 6 tenths per thousand rate. You get, 21,000 square feet. So depending on your lawn, it could be a few applications, should be a few applications. On my lawn, it's like an application and a third. I go through quite a bit of it because you got to figure at, I have 12,000 square feet. So times 2, that's 24,000 square feet. So I get like a bottle and then some change. I needed to go through open up a second bottle to finish up after for my second app of the month. But if you have a smaller lawn, like a 5,000 square foot lawn, you're gonna do fine with a single gallon. Again, 21,000 square feet at the low rate is what you're gonna get. Okay. Love is in the house. It says, hey, I think this is one of the questions that I had an email to get to. It says, Love says, hey, Ron, I emailed you some questions with a picture of a grass weed that is invading my Bermuda lawn. I'm still waiting your response, LOL. I will get to that answer, Love. I think your email is one of the ones that I saw that I had to get to before the live stream. If you email me today, if you email me today is when you sent it, I will answer it tonight before I go to bed after the live stream's over. So I give you my word, I'll go through that. If it was not today, send it again because I probably missed it if you email me like a few days ago and I haven't responded by now. But I'm not ignoring you. Thank you so much for giving me a reminder. I appreciate it. Okay, Super TA's giving some tips on his spoon feeding program. He says he's going to continue to spoon feed the rest of the season with some 1704 at a quarter pound of N every 2 to 3 weeks. Very nice. So far, light doses of N is working out well. There you go, man. If it's working well for your lawn, stick with that. It's always cool. Always cool. All right, and then Alex B's chiming in. He says, in terms of grasses that I have used, KBG is a rough ass to germinate. Seems like it takes forever, though I've heard of much quicker germination times when seeded in hotter temps. Yeah, I think KBG is one of those ones where it's more in the 21 to 28 day range to germinate. Most Bermuda is usually that way. Princess 77 is more like that way. So the grandfather or grandmother of Arden 15 used to take about 3 weeks to germinate. Arden 15 definitely germinates faster than Princess 77 used to. So yeah, but KBG, from what I understand, I've never actually done KBG, but I've heard that it takes 21 to 28 days to grow in. I can tell you rye grows in really quick. Like I've got a rye planter out there and rye just like, the soil and heat. Let's go. Right, just shot up. It was good to go without very much work at all. Okay, Elliot Anders says, "Hey Ron, I have turf type tall fescue and I use purely organic fertilizer 1002. I apply once a month at 5 pounds for my 1,000 square foot lawn. Next date is July 3rd to apply. Is this a good plan for my Maryland lawn?" That doesn't sound like a whole lot of nitrogen, Elliot. I mean, in years past, I guess with your turf type tall fescue, how does it do this time of year when heat is building up? I mean, is it still growing properly? Is it not? I guess Maryland's a little bit further north than we are. But if it's not suffering from heat stress, you're not putting a ton of nitrogen into it, so it's probably going to be fine. I can tell you a couple of the churches around here that have turf type tall fescue, they continue feeding it, but they're just putting a ton of water on it. They're watering like literally every day. So given your rate that it's low, you're probably going to be fine. If you've done that in the past, I would continue to stick with it. I wouldn't go heavy on nitrogen during summer months for any cool season grass. But the big thing is if the grass, the rule of thumb is if the grass is still actively growing, feed it. If the grass is beginning to go into dormancy, back off or just don't fertilize at all. Let it do its thing. And then in the fall when it's going to be really hulking out again, then reinstitute your fertilization program. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, very cool. Yeah, again, with it being organic too, again, your chance of you actually hurting anything is also a lot lower. Okay. All right, we got a Super TA saying, I'm also a firm believer now that I've seen my own eyes what mowing often can do to your turf. It's true, man. I mean, like anything else, like you said, you're spoon feeding your lawn every couple of weeks with it sounds like a granular, but the big thing is mowing, right? Like you got that outlet reel mower, you've been really consistent with it and getting a really good result. And again, mowing is the secret sauce. You can do everything else right, but if you're not mowing your lawn consistently, you're not, it'll be really green, but it's just not going to look that great. So, frequent mowing is definitely something you want to make sure you incorporate and do regularly as part of your lawn care program. All right. Robert Rainey says, first year real mowing yard is Bermuda is its best 3/4 inch height of cut, irrigation installation in 2 weeks. Question with getting bounce back after installation. Good question, Robert. So, I mean, if the irrigation installation is coinciding to a time when you need to put down your fertilizer, you can do that. Make sure you get your granular fert down. What I might do if you're trying to get the grass to bounce back a bit sooner, if you can incorporate a liquid fert, something like Turfplex into your program, like liquid ferts work a lot faster, right? Whereas the Humic Max, 7 days is about what you're going to start seeing a good response with it. With Turfplex, you're talking a couple of days, and you're going to start seeing a visual response and a growth response in the grass. If you're trying to get the grass to come back a little bit sooner, doing a liquid fertilizer app will definitely help with that. But yeah, I mean, it's given the heat that we have in this time of year, Robert, it really shouldn't take that long for the grass to grow through, especially if they're doing like the vibratory trenching method for putting in the irrigation plumbing, like what you saw on Alex's lawn. It shouldn't take that long for it to recover. Like his lawn didn't take well to come back. So hopefully that helps. And Elliot Anders is giving you guys a reminder. Thank you, Elliot. I appreciate that. To not forget to touch that like button ever so gently. Take another sip out of my official live stream cup. Thanks again, Josh. Thanks so much for that. It's going to give me a chance to do that. It's going to easier for you guys to support the live stream, and it's free for you guys to do, right? Can't be free. Okay. Higgy Pop's in the house is saying, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Dropped a light coat of fungus prevention. We have some rain for the next few days. So when you say light coat, I want to make sure that when you're putting down fungicide, Higgy, that you're at least applying it at the preventative rate, right? So kind of like a vaccine or, anything like that that you're going to use to try and inoculate, to inoculate yourself from an illness. The right rate is important. Like if you put down fungicide at a very, very light rate, you're kind of like just giving the fungus enough of it that it gets a taste of it and it can build resistance. So make sure that you said you're putting on a light coat. Make sure that light coat is at least the preventative rate, right? Because on most bags, like at least with Headway G and Heritage, they'll have like a preventative rate, and then they'll have like a curative rate. So the curative rate is obviously going to be a lot heavier, but they also have a lower rate, and you want to make sure when you're putting it down, you're at least meeting that lower rate so that you're not you're still putting down enough that if there's any fungus, you're going to still kill it or suppress anything that might be coming in. But you don't want to go so light that essentially you're kind of like, giving it a vaccine. You're kind of helping the fungus learn what propiconazole or azoxystrobin tastes like and build up a resistance to it, if that makes sense. But yeah, good job on putting it down before you have some rain, and because it's got to be watered in. So good stuff. Great comment. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. Eli Q is saying that he's got La Prima Bermuda lawn from Hancock Seed. It germinates in 8 days. Sounds good. So it's a little bit faster than RN15. Dark green color, great cold tolerance. Early spring green up, can mow at 1/4 of an inch. So it sounds like a really good Bermuda. I'm not familiar with La Prima, Eli Q. And I think RN15 looks good at 1/2 inch or just under 1/2 inch. I don't know what it would look like at 1/4 of an inch. But yeah, sounds like La Prima is like La Prima. It's a really good Bermuda grass seed. 8 days, and you can mow it super short. Good stuff. Thanks for letting us know, sir. I appreciate it. Ricky's in the house. Let's go, Ricky Crimes. Thanks for hanging out in the live stream. And we got a super chat down here from Cheryl, Miss S Bender, Miss converting from Zoysia lawns to from Bermuda lawns to Zoysia lawns. The grass troublemaker.
Super chat.
It says, I'm watching from NC tonight. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much, S Bender. Appreciate it. Thanks for the Earthway settings help. I put down my second app of Headway, and my lawn is out of regulation, and I can't put any PGR down. No fun. That's not great. How long do I have to wait? I guess how long do we have to wait for which part? So you said if your lawn is out of regulation, you can put down PGR then. If it's out of regulation, go for it. Like you're good to go to put down PGR whenever you get back from NC. Whenever you get back from NC, throw down your PGR and you're gonna be good to go. Yeah, shouldn't be an issue with that. And then you got your Headway G application down. As long as you've gotten plenty of rain, so it's been watered in, you should be good to go on that front as well too. Yeah, no problem at all whatsoever there. Great stuff. Thanks for letting me know, and hopefully you're having a great time up in NC. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. I got to go back and find my spot. That's the problem with scrolling down, right? It always makes it hard for me to find where I was in the comments. All right, so Alex B is talking about, first of all, we got Jamar Kinney saying hello. What's going on, Jamar? And then Alex B is back and is saying, even with 2 applications of Granular pre-emergent, dealing with some Dallas grass creeping in from my neighbor's lawn, badly neglected. Dallas grass is a nightmare. It is, Alex B, and really, the way to get rid of it is to dig it out, right? It's really hard, like anything that you put down for Dallas grass, as far as like pre-emergents go, like they can help suppress it some, like slow it down a bit. But the way to get rid of Dallas grass is to like physically remove it, to dig it out. There's not anything that I know of. There's not many things that I know of that are rated for residential use that's effective against Dallas grass. So yeah, sorry you're dealing with that. Not fun, but yeah, if you can, especially if it's just on the border, if you can start digging it out before it gets too far into your lawn, that's probably what I would do. Not probably what I would do. That is what I would do. But yeah, sorry you are dealing with that. So Walter has a question here about sand and leveling. It's a great question, guys. And here's the thing, guys. We are into June. Like this is season. This is top dressing season. Like if you want to, pick the time of year when you can top dress your lawn and have it recover quickly, now's the time. Like I did mine in late May, mainly because I want to have some content out for you guys so you could see like my method for doing it. But like the time to top dress is like right now. If you get your lawn top dress now, it's going to bounce back really quickly. But he has a question around the best sand to use. He says, what is the best sand to use for leveling that I can purchase at a big box store? That's a good question. I'm not sure what you could actually, because I know Home Depot will sell like the play sand, which is, you don't want to use that. If they will sell masonry sand, you could use that for leveling, but that's going to be an expensive way to do it. It depends on how big of an area we're talking here. You said leveling, so I'm assuming you're just kind of fixing just small areas. You just do like a spot pot top dressing. If you're just fixing some small areas like small ruts or low areas, then if you can get some bagged masonry sand, I think Quikrete makes a masonry sand that's bagged. I think so. If you can find some of that, that could work well. You don't want to use play sand. You want a coarser, like a coarser sand, not like the play sand that's going to be like in the clear bags. You want something that's a coarser sand to use for leveling, Walter. If you can't get it at the big box stores, I would say try and find someplace locally and have them deliver some. But it's, then you're talking about probably like a yard minimum. And depending on how much you have to level, that may be too much, or that might be too much sand. Because if you're going big box store, I'm assuming it's like spot top dressing is what you're after, because that's not a great way to do it. From a cost standpoint, if you're doing a big area, it's going to be a lot more expensive versus getting it in bulk. Okay, Chase Toby has a question in here. He says, Ron, what can I use for creeping Charlie, ground ivy in Ohio? I think Spectricide 470 will do that. I think that's one of the weeds controlled. Let me check here. I think, yeah, it is. It is. So what you can do is, if this is safe for your particular grass type, Chase, look into a product from Spectricide. So this here is what I'm talking about. I'm not sure what your grass type is. You didn't tell me, but something like this will work well. Look in the Spectricide family. Make sure you read the label. This is primarily for Bermuda and for warm season grass, but they will have a version of this that will work well on cool season lawns. So make sure you look for, like, in the Spectricide family. Like if we go back up here and you go to, let's see, weed and grass, lawn weed killers. I think this is it here. Yeah, so they got different versions, right? They got a yellow one here, a yellow label, so another version of it. They have one that is specifically for Saint Augustine and centipede. So depending on the grass type you have, make sure you choose the right version of Spectricide. But that's what I would go with, because that one is rated for creeping Charlie. It's an easy herbicide to get. That's it's accessible, not super intimidating to use. You don't have to mix it or use a backpack spray or anything like that. That is what I would go with. Great question. Sorry you're dealing with that, but I mean, there's plenty of herbicides that will knock that out. All right, Kelby Ruiz is in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, hey Kelby, how's it going?" Says, "I recently did my second soil test and my NPK is still low. I am applying once a month with Yard Mastery Triple 12 and 2406. Any advice?" Let me tell you what, if you can, Kelby, let me see what your soil tests. Send me both of them. So I'm not sure which soil test you're using. The one that I recommend as far as soil tests, and again, if both the ones that you've been using are from the same place, stick with that. But for anyone else that's considering a soil test, the one that I like and love is the one from My Soil. This is super easy to use. You get your results very, very quickly with it. And the nice thing about this, particularly to Kelby's question, is they have a comparison tool that allows you to overlay your soil test results from like earlier this year and then the most recent one, and you can see the deltas. You can see if things are moving in the right or wrong directions based on that. So if you can, Kelby, if you don't mind, send me an email with both soil tests. I want to see both of them here to ron@golfcourselawn.com. Realize that it does take a while for nutrient levels to change, but if it's been 3-4 months, like NPK doesn't take that long to move. Like pH is a little bit slower to adjust, but NPK tends to be a bit faster, assuming that everything else in your soil is all right. So yeah, send me an email with your soil test results. I'll look over them and I will get an answer for you. Great question. But you're using you have two great products. You got the 12 and the 2406. Either of those should produce a good result. So yeah, I'll look out for that email. Thanks so much for the question. Okay, a question here about poison oak. I'm not sure on this one, Barb, but I'm going to give it a shot here. Maybe someone else can chime in. It says, what can I use to get rid of poison oak around oak and pine trees? Applied Spectricide, weed, and grass killer, but I still have the problem. I am not familiar on that one, guys. If anyone in the live stream knows what works well for poison oak, feel free to chime in. And it says the Spectricide Weed Stop is good for it. Like I'm looking here I'm doing a search here in their the weeds covered, Barb, and it does have poison oak listed as one of the ones that's supposed to work well. So here's the thing: you may have to do a second application, because keep in mind, right? If the weeds, not all weeds are going to be a one and done type thing, especially when you're dealing with Spectricide, like those, the amount of active ingredient that they put in the consumer grade herbicides, like the ones you can buy at Home Depot, tends to be a little bit on the lower side. So if you've only done like one application of it and it may have knocked it back a bit, but you still got some, do a second app and then see how it does. I wouldn't throw in the towel just yet on the Spectre side because depending on how much of an outbreak you're dealing with, it may take multiple applications. If when you did that first app, you did see a response, meaning you did see the poison oak fall back a little bit, like it was like, I hate life. I can't believe she sprayed this stuff on me. It's looking pretty bad. Like if you saw that, then a second application will probably do a better job this time around to help take it back even more. Because it's not, again, with the consumer grade herbicides, it's usually not a one and done type thing because they tend to make the formulations a little bit on the side of safety because they figure people are going to probably over-apply them a bit. So that's what I would do. Let's give Spectricide one more try and let's see how it does. All right. Donald Burrell is in the house tonight. He says, what's up? Golf Course Lawn Academy in the house. What's up, Donnell? Always nice to see the Lawn Academy members here hanging out in the live stream. He says, I am mowing every 3 days. Lawn is definitely tighter. How frequently do you apply Hydrotain, Fert, and Essential? Thanks. Okay, so Hydrotain is really once every 3 months. Every 90 days, assuming you did a good job applying it, that's going to be enough to get a good result out of Hydrotain. So if you put it down, say, now, it's really going to carry you throughout the rest of the summer, and you should be good to go. Just the big thing with Hydrotain, again, if you got the granular, put it down within 3 to 5 days. Make sure you get plenty of water, either water it in or put it down before rainfall. If you do the liquid, make sure the ground is wet. Apply it, and then water it in heavily afterwards. As far as the Fert and Essential G, the fertilizer, Donna, you know the question to answer this. You're in the academy. You have the application calendar, but for the Fert, it's good for the Humic Max. It's going to be once per month, and for the liquid, the Turfplex, it's going to be twice per month. The first time on the same days you apply the Humic Max, and the second application 15 days later. And then as far as Essential G, once per month. So Hydrotain now, and then you're good for 3 months, really for the rest of the growing season, assuming you have warm season grass. The Humic Max monthly, once per month, and the Essential G once per month, or as much as your budget will permit. So you can go heavier on the Essential G, but once per month is going to be enough to begin, putting that biochar and compost into the soil, help building up the healthier soil. So great question, sir. Always fun to see the Academy members hanging out in the live stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Kelbeek is back with another question. He says, I recently leveled my lawn and I'm getting quite a bit of weeds. That tends to happen depending on how clean the leveling mix you got was. Sometimes you bring weeds in with it. He says, I have a hose and sprayer to take them out, but temps in Texas are above 90s. Hand pull? Yeah, I would. You don't want to, you're really risking it. Outside of like Celsius, which is going to be a little bit more expensive. Most herbicides have a restriction around the temps that you can apply them on. Celsius probably has one too, but Celsius you can go a little bit heavier, or you can apply it on higher temps than you can say something like Spectricide, where once you get into the 90s, you really don't want to be applying it. Really, once you get like mid 80s is when you might back off on it, just to be out of an abundance of caution. So yeah, in your case, Kelby, I think you're going to be on that hand pulling life, just to be safe. If you apply it, what's going to happen is you'll probably kill the weeds, but you're also going to hurt the grass too. You're also going to knock the grass back. Probably won't kill it, but you are going to see a negative response, more so than if you had done it when temps were below 90 degrees, if you were to apply it. So I wouldn't do that. I would just weed the lawn. That is what I would do. I wouldn't apply it outside of the recommendations from the manufacturer. Okay. Suraj Mohotra, it says, hey Ron, how do you like the Hunter irrigation Wi-Fi controller? Did you look at others beforehand and compare? I did. Yeah, I actually like it a lot. It's funny. I always say, what, who needs like a Wi-Fi controller? It's like, it's just like, first world problems. I got to walk out in the garage and turn my rotary dial. What's the big deal? And then I got one and it's like, I got to tell you, it's nice. It's really nice just to be able to sit there and just, I want to put some water on this section of the lawn. I can just turn it on. If I want to do a spot watering or something, I can do it. If I want to just track it, the coolest thing about it is not only the ability that I don't have to walk in the garage anymore, but also if I wanted to see how much water I put on the lawn, how many minutes of water I put on the lawn throughout the week, assuming I've been doing some extra watering, it tracks that, which is cool. I did compare it to the Ratio. Like the Ratio 3 is also a really good irrigation controller. Like when I put down that video, release a video on the irrigation controller, like the amount of comments I got is like, how dare you, the Ratio 3 for life. It was like, the Ratio 3 fanboys totally came out, and it is a really cool controller. Like it's got a lot of really cool features. But the main reason why I went with the Hunter is it's just like it's a commercial grade unit. Not saying the Ratio is not, but like I don't like a lot of the features that are in it, like the ability for you to make notes around like fertilizer applications and some of the other stuff. like I know I would just never use it. Like, the fact that this thing can look at the weather patterns and use that to make watering decisions, that's a cool feature. I think it probably works better if you have like your own personal like weather station, like you install like a small weather station at your house. So that way you're actually it's making decisions based on what's actually happening where you are. But the other stuff, I don't know that I would really use. And because I know Hunter's like commercial grade, the one that I have is a commercial grade unit. Like I could have installed it outside if I wanted to. I just went with that one because like all my sprinklers are Hunter, and I never really had any problems with my current controller. So that's why I decided to go to that one. So the Ratio, if you like to play and tinker, I think that the Ratio 3 is probably a cooler one to mess around with. But if you just, all you want is Wi-Fi control and something that's just going to be rock solid and just work, the Hunter, like it's never dropped off the Wi-Fi network. It does what I expect it to do, So that's why I went with that one. But I get why people choose some other ones, right? I'm not throwing shade at the other brands. I chose that one because I just wanted something that I know I'm probably never gonna have problems with. That's the main reason why. Great question, and thank you for watching the content. I really appreciate that because that's a video that I didn't think many people would actually take a look at because it's really niche. But thank you, sir, for the question. I really appreciate it. All right, Joseph Roberts in the house. He says, hey, Ron. Hello, everyone. Happy weekend. What's going on, Joseph? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Harmux has a question. Says, hey, Ron, I can't use PGR legally, so you must be overseas. I'm guessing maybe UK or just some country where they don't allow you to use PGR. It says, my lawn consists of Kentucky bluegrass and perennial rye. Any ideas how to get it through the summer best? Fert is applied every 2 weeks. 25-10 with some iron. Watering should be minimal. So here's the thing. If your Kentucky bluegrass and your rye aren't going dormant, meaning you're going to try and keep pushing growth, you're going to keep trying to keep them alive, it's just going to be mowing, right? It's just going to be a lot of mowing. Here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to use PGR. It is something that if you, it is a game changer from a standpoint of being able to mow less, and it does help produce deeper color in the lawn. But if you just have the time just to mow a ton, you can do that with you. I mean, that's like natural PGR, right? Like I think one of the guys in the Bermuda Grass Lawn Dominators Facebook group, he was I think he's one of the admins. He was volunteering out of the golf tournament that was this past week in South Carolina. I forget the name of the course. It's a beautiful course. But he was saying that they don't use PGR on the greens, but they just mow a ton. They mow their greens something like 3 to 5 times a day when it's not a tournament. Obviously, during a tournament, they can't do that, but they mow the greens a ton. And they don't use any PGR. And watching them on TV, go back and look at the footage from like last week of that tournament. Those greens looked incredible, really nice. So in your case, if you're trying to just, you're trying to keep the lawn going during summer months, it's just going to come down to mowing. You're just going to have to pick up your mowing frequency. The thing you might do, Harmux, is you may just raise your mowing height a little bit. You may go up a little bit in mowing height so that you don't have to get out there quite so much. But if you're trying to real mow KBG and perennial rye blend, and you're going to keep feeding it with nitrogen to where you're trying to keep it alive and you're watering it, so you're trying to keep it going during summer months, and no PGR, it's going to mean mowing. That's the only, I don't really have a better answer for you other than that. PGR would help some, but just gonna have to mow it a ton. Sorry, I don't have a better answer, but yeah, that's what's going to be. Mowing covers a multitude of sins. The answer is almost always mowing. You put too much fertilizer in your lawn, mow it. You want to keep your KBG and perennial rye lawn going during summer months, mow it. So very, very good stuff. All right. Soupy says, hi, Ron. Thanks for the great content. I chickened out on PGR today. So afraid I'm going to mess it up. Yeah, I mean, it can be intimidating, Soupy. The big thing I would say, here's what you can do. Here's a way you can do that's a foolproof way to ensure that you don't mess it up, okay? So measure off, and this is just so you can get your bearings of what it should feel like to walk at the correct pace to make sure you get a good PGR application. Measure off a 50 by 20 foot section of your lawn, so 1,000 square feet. Put 1 gallon of water, nothing else in it, 1 gallon of water in your backpack sprayer. This is what you're gonna do, all right? You can put 1 gallon of water in your backpack sprayer with your 1,000 square feet measured off, just measure a 50 by 20 foot area. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk that area, right? You're gonna walk that entire area, and you're gonna time how long it takes for you to walk that area, right? Depending on the backpack spray you have, if you tell me which spray you have, I might be able to help you out. If you have a Chapin, you're gonna have 186 seconds, I think, if memory serves me. I used to have that written down somewhere. It's 106 seconds. You're gonna have 160 seconds to walk 1,000 square feet with a Chapin. If you have a flow zone at the low rate, you're going to have 106 seconds to walk 1,000 square feet. If you're using it at the low rate, at the high rate, the 115 psi rate, so the super fast rate, you're only going to have 91 seconds. I don't recommend for most people that are starting out to try the high rate because you have to walk a lot faster than people think. So if you have a flow zone, that 106 seconds, that 100-second rate per 1,000 square feet, that's what you're going to be going for. So what you do is put a gallon of water in that backpack sprayer, use a timer, and then just start walking that 1,000 square feet and spray it, and then take a look at your sprayer when you're done and say, okay, I got 1,000 square feet. I walked at this pace. Do I have any water left? There should be, should be empty. Should be. If you're pretty close to that, then you're good to go. Just make sure you maintain that pace when you're walking and you're doing the entire lawn. The big thing with PGR, if you are using a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, is do not exceed, again, I don't know what kind of grass you have. You didn't tell me, but I'm assuming it's Bermuda. If it's Bermuda, and you have a cup like this, a measuring cup, you can get these on Amazon, do not exceed that mark right there. The very first one, the very first line, that is 1 ounce. That 1 ounce will cover 4,000 square feet. 4,000 square feet. So, that's the only thing I can say. Just try it out because it's really not that bad once you do it. But I get it. You don't want to over apply it, but it's not that hard once you get your walking pace down and you know how fast your sprayer puts out a gallon of product. Great question. Let me know if you end up doing it. I've got tons of videos on PGR, but I hope you end up going for it because it really is a really cool thing to use in your lawn. It really does make a big difference in mowing and just how the turf looks in general. Okay, Jorge Ramirez says, hey Ron, I applied some Bandini 21/7/14 and my grass started turning neon green and yellow. Then it turned into straw material and died. Help with soil. I did soil samples. All came back on point. I don't know what Bandini is. It's some kind of fert, obviously. But I don't know if there's anything else in there. Is there anything else in it other than that? And if it's just a straight fertilizer, did you apply it at the recommended rate? Because it sounds like what you're describing is like you went kind of heavy. It sounds like you went heavy on your fertilizer application, and the grass kind of hulked out for a little bit, and they said, "Oh, this is way too much," and then it died or fell back a lot. If you do this to Bermuda, it will bounce back depending on how bad of a fertilizer burn we're talking here. It could take several weeks, maybe a month. It could take a while. But it sounds to me, without knowing anything else, without knowing that fert or knowing if there's anything else in it, it sounds like an over application to me, Jorge. Which unfortunately, it's just going to be time with that one, right? You can water super heavily and try and flush the nitrogen or flush the fertilizer down a little bit so it's away from the root zone, but it's still just going to be a time thing, unfortunately. Sorry you're dealing with that. But yeah, I'll look into that one after the fact because I've never heard of that one before. Bandini 21/7/14. All right, Daryl Tunstall is chiming in. He says, Ron, your program really works, sir. I put down Humic Max and Turfplex plus Nutrisolve 6 days ago. The lawn looks amazing. Thanks. You are very welcome, sir. I'm glad that you're getting a great result with the program and with the fertilizer products. And the thing is, I've gotten some emails from you guys saying, are the rates too low? And I'm assuming that Daryl is applying them at the correct rate. The rates that I give you guys for those, again, that really low rate for the Humic Max, the low rate for the Turfplex and for the Carbon Kit, and the Nutrisolve, like all those products, though that low rate is enough. Trust me, it's enough. The last thing I want you guys to do is go really, really heavy and either burn your lawn, or if you don't burn your lawn, have it get, have a huge surge growth problem where you have to be out there mowing all the time because you put way too much nitrogen down, right? So the low rates are correct. You are going to get a good result, a good response in your grass with that. Just stick to the rates. So thanks for chiming in, Daryl. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're getting a good result with a concoction. Very, very cool. Alex B says, us cool season guys though have some unsightly brown spots that drive us crazy in the summer. Yeah, a lot of it's heat stress, man, unfortunately. So, depending on the kind of grass you have, depending how much water you're putting on it, kind of like Bermuda, how Bermuda goes dormant in the fall, your dormancy period is like now, right? If it's getting really hot where you are, Alex, the lawn's going to see some stress. If you can put like a little bit of water on it, not so much, not a ton, but like, keep some water on it, and just wait. It should come back in the fall. But the good thing about you cool season guys, you do have to deal with unsightly grass in the summer months unless you're willing to put a ton of water on it. But you get 2 growing seasons. You get a spring and a fall. So pick your poison. You can't have it both ways, right? Us warm season guys only get the summer. You guys get both. So you can't have everything. Charles Blake says, love the growing season. I guess you love this growing season or you love the cool season growing season. Which one do you like? All right, Mr. Green Thumb says, do you get the yellow haze from T-Nex on every application or just after the first app? I find it to be worse on the first application, Mr. Green Thumb, but you will get it every time unless you apply a fertilizer with a little bit of iron, and I like to use a little bit of nitrogen as well too. So a great fertilizer to use for that is the Turfplex. So this guy here, this at a low rate, again, if you're mixing it with T-Nex, if you're just using it just to prevent like the yellow haze effect, what you can do is instead of 6 ounces, you go even lighter. You go like 4 ounces per thousand, because really all you're trying to do is give the lawn a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of iron to help prevent, to help reduce that, right? So every time you apply it, I would apply a little bit of something like Turfplex along with it, because that is going to help. That's going to visually reduce how bad it is. Here's the thing: the yellow haze is not like a horrible thing, right? Like what typically happens, the example I always say is if you apply T-Nex on a Monday, assuming you went at the right rates, you didn't over apply it on a Monday, by Wednesday-ish, you're going to start seeing the lawn, the Wednesday afternoon anyway, you're going to start seeing the lawn. If it were vibrant green, it's going to start looking a little bit more dull, right? If you mow Thursday, you'll knock off that dull growth, that dull top part of the grass that got, I guess it's stress or whatever it is that causes the yellowing from T-Nex. And then what grows back after that is more than likely going to be green. You're going to be all fine and good. But if you want to prevent that or seriously reduce it, using a fertilizer kind of like Turfplex, something with a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of iron in it, does a lot for really helping that. And you do have to do it every single time. Great question. Okay, Dwizzle says, I'm reel mowing every other day with a 16-inch Scott manual. Good stuff, sir. Love listening to the podcast when I mow. Good exercise too. That's awesome, Ed. I really appreciate that, because I always wonder the people who listens to the shows after the fact, but I guess it's people that are like, either you're driving in a car or you're mowing, but I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know, Dwizzle. That's always really cool. And then Nestor Lugo is talking about getting some work done to his California trimmer. He says, I need a release grind on my California trimmer. Please ask the audience if anyone can help in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if there's anyone in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that can grind a California trimmer, chime into the comments. I don't know if there's any people that actually grind reel mowers that come in the live stream, but if they do, here's what you can do. If you are a person that does do that, leave a comment in this video. And what I can do is Nestor, during next week, if someone leaves a comment and I see it saying, yeah, we grind reels or California trimmers in the DFW area, next week I can just mention someone that actually does it for you. But I would look around. I mean, ask local golf courses if they will take, if you go down to them and beg and plead and see if they'll be willing to do it, or just look in the yellow page. There should be someone that will grind a reel for you in that area. All right. And thank you so much, Matt Alexander. I actually wanted to sip my lemonade, and your timing is impeccable, sir. He says, hey, everyone, don't forget to hit the like button ever so gently. Please do that, because it's free for you guys. It's an easy way to support the channel. It sends good vibes. The algorithm has more people come in and hang out with us during our live stream sessions, and it gives me a chance to take a sip of my lemonade. All right. G Free has a question here, a point about mowing, reel mowing. He says, hey, Ron, at Dwizzle, doing the same thing with a Scott's 20-inch reel mower every other day. That's awesome, guys. That's what I started out with. I started out with a Scott's 20-inch, great mower, cuts great. And yeah, if you're mowing, frequently every other day, you should get a really good looking lawn with it. It's a really good mower. Kind of like with anything else, what you put into is what you get out of it, right? So the more you mow with it, the better your lawn's going to look. Okay, let's see. Wise Guy's a question here about fertilization after a heavy rain. He says, hey, Ron, you answered this question for me before in email. Is it necessary to reapply fertilizer after a heavy rain? Say if I applied ferts and 2 to 5 days before a rainstorm, ran irrigation the day you applied, do you need to reapply it? In most cases, no, not really. I mean, unless you're dealing with a serious slope, I'm talking about like way worse than mine. The amount of fertilizer you'll lose due to runoff is not going to really be that much. If anything, what you'll find, here's what you can know, Wise Guy. It's not going to run all off the entire lawn. But what you'll notice is if the lower parts of like a sloped area, so say like, I don't know, I have anything that's a slope here right now. Let's say that, I don't have anything. Let's say my cell phone is a slope. We'll use that as an example, right? This is a slope. And, what you find is you fertilize the entire lawn. If any of it's running down, you may find that this section, the mid area and lower, is going to be a little bit greener, and up here is going to be a little bit more dull. If in that case you want to put a little bit more fert just in the high part, you can do that. But I've been through some really crazy rainstorms. I've never had enough fert run out to where I have to go out there and put more down. So no, I mean, the long and short of the answer is no. I wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't apply more fertilizer. Just wait to your next month's application and just take care of it then. In most cases, the whole idea of like fertilizer running out or washing out from a rainstorm is, in my mind, largely overblown, especially on healthier lawns, right? So if your lawn is growing and it's not like just bare dirt, so you've got something to kind of hold on to the fert, hold on to the granules, you shouldn't have a problem at all. But great question. I remember this one that you gave me an email, and thanks for asking it again, because I'm sure some other people probably had that question as well too. Okay, Ruben Harris has a question. He says, "Hey Ron, loving the live show. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it." He says, "I have about 10% Poa annua or Travalis in my lawn. I would like to overseed again in the fall, but this is the ideal time for another pre-emergent app to control Poa. You got to pick which one you want. Then, unfortunately, if you're gonna put down pre-emergent, you are taking the chance that whenever you overseed in the fall, that it's going to negatively affect your germination rate, right? So you can use something, I don't know, like the granular spectricide, I find doesn't work quite as well or as long as some of the liquids. If you were to put down like prodiamine now, because you're trying to prevent like fall Poa, which it's probably a little early for that even still. Like the liquid tends to work a little bit better than the granular. So if you really want to try it, go with like the spectricide weed stop, the one that has pre-emergent in it. But just know that if you do that, you are going to take a hit to your germination. I would probably just deal with it, man, because 10%, yes, it's not great, but if you're really get to the point where you're going to overseed your lawn in the fall and you really want that to do really well, I would probably just wait until then, overseed, let the lawn growing really well, and then just deal with the Poa between now and then. Just 10% not a ton. Just kind of manually weed it, try and get rid of it as best you can. And especially this time of year, as hot as it is, it should be pretty easy to pull that or get rid of those. And it's not. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but anytime someone comes to me and they give me a question that's like a weed control question, and that requires like pre-emergence to take care of it, or a overseeding question, like I always tend to lean more towards the seeding answer, because the investment, the financial investment associated with that tends to be higher than dealing with like Poa or dealing with weeds, right? You can always pull weeds. You can't really take pre-emergent away once you put it down. So hopefully that helps. And as you say, and Ruben says, where is the line between controlling Poa versus overseeding more desirable grasses? As I would say, put down something like that that's a less effective pre-emergent as early as possible. Something like a granular weed stop will work, but it doesn't work as well as liquid. So if you did it now, we're June, July, August, September. Yeah, I mean, you're still going to be pushing it. It's still probably going to be working when it comes fall time, when you're trying to overseed. I wouldn't do it if it were me. If seeding is your main priority, if weeds are your main priority, and all you care about is seeding a little bit, then put the pre-emergent down. If seeding is what you really want, then I would wait. I wouldn't do that. Daniel Sav, I think also from Australia. What's going on, Daniel? Thanks for coming to hang out. This is one of the viewers that anytime I am doing my YouTube stories in the morning, sometimes he chimes in, but it's always good to see you also in the live stream, Daniel. I really appreciate you chiming in from down under. I think you're the same person. I'm pretty sure. But thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Always fun. Joseph Roberts says, "Hey, I beat the heck out of the lawn. Aeration, hand-picked plugs up. 14 wheelbarrows worth of plugs." Wow, you had a big lawn. Or you really aerated the lawn a lot. Good job, sir. He says, "You cut every day this week, 100-degree temps all this week. You put down Humic Max in the morning, plus Carbon Pro G at triple bag rate." My man, you weren't messing around with the Carbon Pro G, right? Sounds good, man. You're doing everything right. You did a really good aeration job. It's the time of the year when it's a lot of heat, so the lawn's going to bounce back quickly. You did your fertilizer app, and you also did your granular carbon. So very, very good. I give you the stamp of approval on that. Really nice job. Great stuff. Okay. Steven Velasquez says, "Hey, I finally upgraded from the Fiskars. I bought a True Cut from Real Rollers. We got to clap it up. It's got to happen." Congrats, Steven. True Cut's an awesome mower. I still love mine. So I'm glad that you were able to get your mower. I mean, Fiskars is nice, but you're going to really, really like the cut that you get with a powered reel mower. So congratulations on that. You didn't tell us, did you go solid roller or did you go grooved roller? Which one? You got to drop in the comments. You got to let us know which way. How do you trick it out? If you do anything cool with it, let us know. Robert Mahorez has a question about T-Nex. He says, I want to use T-Nex to slow her down. Is it too hot now? And I was going to use half the recommended 0.25 rate and then the other half in 15 days. I've never used this product before. I'm up in Raleigh, NC. No, it's not. As far as the temps, no, not really. I've applied literally for the past 4 years, ever since I've been doing plant growth regulator on my lawn. I've started in May, and it's gotten it every month through September. So now is definitely the time when you'd want to put down T-Nex if you're going to do it, right? As far as going at half the recommended rate, I've never actually done that. I'm not sure what would happen if you did that. If you went like half the rate now and then they're half the rate in 15 days, that's a great question. I'm not actually sure what would happen. I would think you're probably not going to get as good regulation. I can tell you that the 0.25 rate is about right. I mean, if you want to go a little bit lighter, I might go like a 0.20 if you want, but I wouldn't go half the rate, like 0.25, like 0.125 now, and then 0.125 like 15 days from now. Unless you just want to do the experiment, try it out and let us report back and let us know how it does. I have never done that, Robert, so I can't tell you what's going to happen. I don't know if the yellowing, the bronzing would be less, possibly, but you're also not going to have the same regulation. I don't think that you would have if you did it as per the label, which is once every 3 to 4 weeks at the 0.25 rate. Again, if you do it at the right rate, you're not going to hurt anything. You're gonna be just fine. Just don't over apply it. Is the big thing with PGR. But let us know if you decide to do that experiment. Let us know how it works out. It's kind of cool. All right, so we got a bunch of yeses here. Yes on BYD, more BYD. My favorite point was when he was talking about we were talking about like the material in the lawns. Right, like having stuff in the lawn. He's like, oh yeah, I was like doing my lawn. I found a bunch of stuff in it, so I just threw it in the lawn next door. I was like, no, you can't do that, man. It was he's awesome. BYD is unfiltered, man. He's always fun to hang out with. Just how he is in his videos is just how he is on the live stream, which is pretty awesome. Very, very, very cool. Yeah, another vote here. Definitely get BYD back. He's down for it. That was a great collab. Yep, awesome. Awesome stuff. All right. Eric Garcia is saying, hey, just stopping in to say hi and give a like. I love Christian said. That's good, man. I'm glad you like St. Croix. It is a nice, I think it's an underappreciated island in the Caribbean. Everyone talks about St. Thomas, like people that talk about the Caribbean, they're that part. They'll talk about St. Thomas, they'll talk about St. John. And then like St. Croix is just unloved. Like no one ever goes there. Right. So I don't understand. I don't understand why. Cause St. Thomas is nice, but it's expensive. It's really hilly. I think St. Croix is pretty cool. It's definitely worth more visits. And I was born there, so I'm a little bit partial to St. Croix, right? Especially Christiansted, the good side of the island, right? Not Frederiksted. Not so much Frederiksted, but Christiansted is my spot. It's my jam. Okay, LG's in the house. What's going on, LG? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. He says, sorry, I'm late checking in. My irrigation company is currently here performing some good old sprinkler repair. I hear you on that, sir. I've got some of that going down. I've got some nasty stuff that's about to happen in my lawn. You guys can have to wait to see. If you guys follow my YouTube stories, you guys already know, like Daniel probably already knows what I'm talking about, but definitely watch the next video that's going to come out probably Sunday morning. So I'm thinking is when it's going to drop, either Sunday or Monday morning. That is going to talk about overseeding, but there's going to be an Easter egg in there that I think all you guys are going to love. At a minimum, you're either going to get a really good laugh out of it, or you'll be just appalled by what you see happens. But yeah, sprinkler repair is never fun at LG because they got to mess up a perfectly nice lawn, but it is necessary. It's important, right? Got to make sure that you can get water on the lawn when it's necessary. Okay. Next Level Lawn Care says, I've come across some unavailable fertilizer that's mined and manufactured a few miles from me. I think you're probably talking about Malorganite. Does it rhyme with Schmalorganite? If so, cool. He says, that's mine manufactured near me. So I guess you're in Milwaukee. He says, they gave me a 5-gallon bucket and it's got 5% silicon amongst other micros. So it's probably not Milorganite. I wonder what that is. I wonder what the unavailable one is. Now inquiring minds want to know. He says, I found limited information on its effects for grass. Are you aware of any effects of silicon would have on grass? Yes. So what silicon is supposed to do, and to your point, it is a newer topic, right? Man, it's newer in the sense of like turf grass, right? As far as just using it on our residential lawns. But the theory behind it, when I was talking to the people at Miramichi Green about why they decided to incorporate that into Essential G, is that silicon improves the cell wall strength of the grass. So that makes the grass physically stronger. The positives to that is that as far as like disease resistance, it's supposed to help improve that. It's supposed to have just benefits to the grass and its ability to resist damage and recover faster from damage. How well it works, I've not yet seen a study that actually quantifies, like, a lawn that has, a certain percentage of silicon or how much makes a big difference, but there are benefits to it. So the fact that you have 5% in your product, because I think that is what Essential G have as well. Essential G has 5% silicon in it. So try it out. I've been using it on my lawn. I've been putting a ton of it on my lawn. I probably put down more Essential G on my lawn than most people. I don't want to say more than anyone else in the country, or any residential lawn in the country, because I see some of you guys in like some of the Facebook groups, and you guys are insane. You guys don't mess around on your carbon apps. So I think I've probably put down more than most people, but I am happy to be proven wrong on that one. But it's next level lawn care. It's not going to hurt anything. If anything, there's only benefits. But the big thing is physical strength, cell wall strength of the grass. Those are the benefits of silicon. All right, G Free has a question here about fungicide. He says, "Hey Ron, I'm in Georgia. With the rain coming through this weekend, should I put down fungicide prior? How long does it take to not wash away before rain?" Okay, so the idea behind most fungicides, like something like Headway G, is you actually want it to be watered in to activate, right? So if you're putting down like Headway G or Heritage or even Caravan G, like those you want to get watered in. So the time to apply it, G Free, is really prior to rain. Like if you want to, you can put it down and water it in yourself, but if you got rain coming, put it down and water it in. Like literally all of my Headway, my fungicide applications, I've tried to time them around when there was rain in the nearby forecast, because my irrigation system does a great job watering it in, but rainwater is a whole lot better, right? So yeah, I would not worry too much about it washing away. The prill of Heritage and Headway is very, very fine. It's a very small prill. Like if you have like an Earthway, the spreader setting is something like 9. It's really, really fine. Put it this way, the same setting I use for Headway is close to the same side that I use for overseeding, for putting down Arden 15. So it's very, very fine. So I wouldn't worry about it washing away. Rain is a good thing if you're putting it down, and yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. Good stuff. Great time of year to be applying it to help prevent any potential fungus issues in your lawn. So great question, and I appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being a viewer in the live stream. Okay, Dwayne Hopkins has a question. He says, "Hey Ron, love your channel. Keep doing what you're doing for the lawn community. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. Always love that." It says, "What is the easiest way to tell if a fertilizer is quick release if it's not listed on the bag?" Okay, so on the bag, when you look at the fertilizer, it will have an asterisk. I'm not sure if I can pull up a label here. Oh, can I do this quickly? Maybe. Can I do it? I think I can. What it will do is it will tell you the percentage of slow release. So good example. I'll show you here with a label. If you look here at the label, this is a label for Humic Max. Two things. One, sometimes the manufacturer will just tell you, like with Lebanon, they tell you, hey, this one is 35% slow release fertilizer. But if you look here, what will happen is whenever the fertilizer is listed on the label, so I can zoom in a little bit right here to this portion, you'll see an asterisk here. So you see here this asterisk. Anytime you see that with the nitrogen makeup, like the different types of nitrogen that are in the product, that asterisk is going to tell you how much or what percentage of the overall nitrogen that's in the product is slow release. So if we go down here, you see we got like a fertilizer. We got one here that's the water soluble nitrogen. Hang on, let me click here. We got one that's the water soluble nitrogen, and we have another one here that's other water soluble nitrogen. And if we follow the asterisk down, it says that 3.9% is slowly available nitrogen from methylene ureas. So what that tells me is that out of that 16% nitrogen that's in the fertilizer, 3.9% of it is slow release. So you can just do the math, just kind of reverse that. If 3.9% of it is slow release, I know this because Lebanon already tells us, the remaining 65% of it is quick release. So I don't think they necessarily will always list what percentage of it is quick release, but they list what is slow release. So just look for that asterisk, see what the percentage is of that particular fertilizer makeup that is slow release, and then to do the math to reverse engineer how much of it is quick release, if that helps. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully I did a decent job explaining that. But yeah, look on the fertilizer bag. They will pretty much all of them will have an asterisk that will tell you how much of that particular formula that fertilizer is slow release, and you can just again work backwards to figure out how much of that is quick release. Great question. That's not one I think I've been asked before. That's a good question. Good stuff. Okay. KS says, is it good to cut your grass before several inches of rain? Is it good to cut your grass for several inches of rain? Yes. Is it good to cut your grass a lot lower than you normally would before several inches of rain? No. So you didn't ask that question, but I think that was the spirit of the question, KS. So you would do your normal mowing, in other words, if it's going to rain tomorrow, I would definitely get a mow in today, not now because it's nighttime, but like I would get a mow in today with it knowing that it's going to mow tomorrow. But what I would not do is if I know it's going to rain, say for the next 2 to 3 days, right? What I would not do is like cut my lawn a lot shorter because knowing that it's going to get rain, because then you're scalping it, you're going to be stressing the turf, it's going to come back and it's going to grow back yellow and ugly. What I would find is even when most people say that, yeah, we're going to get rain in the forecast, it's going to rain for the next 2 to 3 days, it's very rare that unless a tropical storm or depression is going over, that you've literally got 2 to 3 days where it is nothing but rain. Normally, you're going to find a window there of a couple of hours where you can get out there and mow the lawn if you want to. And especially if you have a real mower, you can get away with that and not make too much of a mess of the lawn by cutting the grass when it's a little bit damp, a little bit wet. But to answer your question strictly, yes, it's a good idea to cut your grass before several inches of rain. I would do that, but I wouldn't cut it a lot lower than your normal cutting height in expectation of rain, because you don't want to, because what will happen then is you're gonna stress the turf, and what grows back is likely to be a little bit yellow. So great question. Okay, a question here from A. Cardenas. On Carbon Pro L. Here's a quick question. How soon does Carbon Pro L need to be watered in after application? That's a good question. So for that one, Carbon Pro L, because I haven't used that one since last year, I have to look at the label. That one, I would normally, even though it just called for being watered in, I normally waited. I let it dry on the leaf first, and then I watered in the afternoon. I didn't water right after application. With the newer fertilizers that I'm using, like the Mirror Green Carbon Kit, none of those require to be watered in. Like literally, just the water that you're using to spray it, to apply it, is enough. So if you did it early in the morning, I would wait till the afternoon to water it in. It's not like it's a big rush. A. Cardenas, it's not like Carbon Pro L is not like Hydrotane, where once you apply it, you definitely gotta water it in right away. You can water it in a few hours later. You can water it in the next day, and it's gonna be just fine. It's not like there's like a small window of when you have to get that done, like Hydrotane. But if you decide once you run out of Carbon Pro L, which I'm sure you got a lot of it, but once you run out of that, consider giving the Carbon Kit a chance, because with that, all you got to do is just put it down and you don't have to water it. It does not need watering whatsoever. But great question. Carbon Pro L is a great product. I really loved using it last year, but I am loving the Carbon Kit that much better. Okay, T Nug has a question here about classic tonic style fertilizer, ammonia mixed with soap and color. Yeah, so that's a good question. So how do you feel about it? I've never actually tried it, and I kind of want to. It might make for a cool video to see how that works out. Like if you do what was his name? There's an older guy that used to do videos of like mixing these concoctions together. I can't remember his name. Like I'm gonna get my my lawn guy card taken away for not remembering this. But he used to do do videos of showing how to mix different, like this concoction of like home products together to create fertilizer that creates does a really good job of greening up your lawn. I've never tried them myself to know how well they work. It'd be a cool test. Maybe something to make a cool piece of content for the channel. We'll have to see. But I'm sure they work. I'm sure they do work. It's just a matter of how much better do they work compared to like something like Turfplex or other like dedicated fertilizer products. That would be hard to say. But it's worth trying out. It'd be cool to make a MythBuster episode out of that and see how well it works. Great question. Okay, Effortless Craze says, does liquid aeration work? Yes, but it depends on what you're talking about by liquid aeration. If you're trying to use liquid aeration as a means of replacing hollow tine aeration of like getting out like a billy goat or like a Ryan air, like the like, riding the bull all around the lawn. No, it is not. It does not produce the same result as hollow tine aeration. Is there some value in it? Yes, because what it does, the way it works is it tends to stimulate microbial activity, which helps to break down thatch. That's the benefit of it. So whenever I get the question of liquid fertilization, liquid aeration versus hollow tine physical aeration, my answer is yes, do both of them. I wouldn't, like, if I could only do one, if I could only choose one, if I could only do one, I prefer hollow tine. Like that's what I've done in the past, or that's what I've done pretty much every year that I've been here. If you can't do hollow tine aeration, doing liquid aeration is better than not doing anything. But just know that it is not the same thing as hollow tine aeration. In other words, if you have a lawn that's heavily compacted, like liquid aeration is not going to break up compaction. It's not going to reduce compaction to the same level that hollow tine aeration is. Because literally with hollow tine aeration, you're taking something that's really, really dense and you're literally punching voids in it. So then you're just releasing that. You're releasing, you're giving the soil a place to release, right? Because you're kind of like breaking up compaction physically. And it's really hard to beat that with a liquid product. So there is value in them. I mean, you can technically say that, like the NutriKelp, that product that's in the carbon kit, and all the products in the carbon kit, or even the BioSpectrum, which has healthy microbes and also helps stimulate microbial activity, is a liquid aeration type product of sorts, but it's not really marketed as much for that. But the idea behind it is more that it stimulates, it creates lots of microbial activity that in general is healthy for your soil. In general, it's going to help reduce thatch. So hopefully that helps answer your question. There is value in it, but you have to just kind of know what to expect when you go with a liquid aeration product. And that's my take. There's some people that will tell you that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread and it cures all sins. And again, I think people they can produce a good result, but I would use them in concert along with hollow tine aeration. It's not one or the other. Great question. Hopefully that helps Effortless Craze. And if you have any other follow-up questions, let me know. Okay, Keon Castleberry has a comment here. He says, hello, Keon. He says, going all in this year with a Toro Flex 21. Nice. And a bunch of liquids and granular products include Carbon Pro G and Turfplex. Thank you for all your videos. It has been very helpful. You're very, very welcome, Keon. I'm glad that you are taking the liquid route. The big thing is if it's the first time applying liquids, make sure, don't over apply. More is not better. Whereas with granulars, going a little bit heavy, you can sometimes get away with it. With liquids, you really want to make sure you pay attention, especially if you're using Turfplex, right? Because Turfplex is made primarily quick release nitrogen, right? So it does not take a lot. Again, if you're putting down Turfplex, it's going to be, if you're just starting out, the label says 6 ounces per thousand, but for the first time, let's just do 4 ounces per thousand in your case. Go a little bit lighter. So what that means is if you have like a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, you're going to go up to right here. You're going to go up to 16 fluid ounces, and that's going to go over 4,000 square feet, okay? If you feel confident in your ability to spray accurately, follow the label rate. That's going to end up with 24 fluid ounces of Turfplex. It's a really good product. And we got to clap it up, man. I know I'm not overlooking the fact that you got the Toro Plex 21. A new reel mower has been brought home. We have to celebrate that. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. So congrats on that. And I'm glad you watched the content. Thank you for finding the videos helpful. That's what I try to do. I try to make some of the videos fun. Like this next video that's coming out Sunday or Monday it's kind of an update type video, kind of showing you the results you can get from something that I did in my lawn here recently. Not to give too much away. But it's always a balancing act, right? Making the videos educational, but also making them fun to watch. So just, without me just showing like, hey, this is what's going on my lawn. So I think you guys tend to respond well to it. So I'll keep making it. If you guys want to see something different, while you guys are here in the live stream, if there's something else you guys want to see, leave a comment below with that. Don't put it in the chat because I'm not going to be able to get through all of them, but leave a comment below of a topic you'd like to see me cover. And you never know, I might make a video out of it. So let you guys are like obviously the hardcore fans. So if there's something you guys want to see, drop it in the comment section. All right. Rashad Morel has a question about liquid fertilizer. He says, Ron, what's a good liquid fertilizer to use in Bermuda? I have always used granular now, and I want to use liquid. I want to go liquid. Well, Rashad, I'm glad you asked. The fertilizer that I would go with, the one that I like and love, is this guy. It's Turfplex. It's a 22-3. This is a great fertilizer for a speed fooding program. What I'd recommend, if you haven't done one, I mean, most people tend to do their soil tests earlier in the year, but it's still not too late to do one now. If you're really trying to be super, super particular about, applying like the best fit for your lawn, get a soil test done. The one that I like to recommend is the one from My Soil. These are super easy to use. It takes about a week from the time you send the results out to the time you get your results back. And that's going to tell you exactly what's the best product to use on your lawn, especially for granular. Liquid, not as critical. For granulars, definitely let the soil test results guide your way, because the granulars tend to stay in the soil a lot longer than the liquids do. So this is the one that I like. Turfplex, this is a 22-3, like I said. You're going to apply this at 6 ounces per thousand, relatively low rate to get a really good response. And you can get it on the golf course lawn store. It's a fertilizer that we carry on the golf course lawn store right here. And you can see that here. So it's available. There's also a couple of options. You've got Turfplex, again, right here. And that is what I would roll with. It's a great fertilizer. It's what I've been using on my lawn. Works great for Bermuda and cool season grass too. It's not just a warm season fertilizer. Go with that. That's what I would recommend. Great question. And congrats on taking the plunge into liquids. You're gonna like it, man. There's so many options. Like, going liquid opens up a ton of doors as far as other things you can do with your lawn. So congrats on going liquid. Just take your time. Okay, Clayton Wilson. I always get this question every week, and I never have an answer for it because I've never tried it. But he says, Ron, what do you think about putting down chicken feed to provide additional organic material to the soil? I think it's probably a good thing. I think it's not going to hurt anything. Adding anything you can do that's going to add additional organic material, like compost, or again in this case, chicken feed. There's probably going to be some benefits to it. I don't know about the makeup of chicken feed. If it's as long as it's fairly I don't say it's inert, but as long as like chicken feed isn't like super heavy in like one of the macros, like it's got, like I say, a ton of phosphorus in it whenever you put down chicken feed. I don't know if it does. If that's the case, just take that into account with any other fertilizers you're putting down your lawn. But as far as anything organic that you can put on your lawn that's going to help feed the soil and help improve the quality of it, I'm all for that. Always for getting your lawn green and looking great without having to always rely on synthetic products. So assuming that it's a fit for your soil type, go for it. Give it a shot and let me know how it does. Okay, Alex is saying that Humic Max is awesome. That $70 goes a very long way. It does, yeah. I mean, so you figure at the low application rate, which is what I recommend, the 3 pounds per thousand, that's 15,000 square feet, right? So in your case, you have a 5,000 square foot lawn. Yep, you get 3 applications. Perfect, yeah. So I can easily get 3 applications for my 5,000 square foot lawn, front and side lawn, from one bag, and it ships to your site. That's awesome, right? So one bag in your case will cover you for right at 3 months. So that's not a bad investment, right? $70 for 3 months of awesomeness for your lawn. Tough to beat, sir. Tough to beat. Okay. And then Rashad has a follow-up question here. He says, another question, Ron. I have a section on the side of my house that doesn't get a lot of sun, so the grass is not growing like the rest of the yard. What should I put down? Thanks. Okay, so if you're dealing with shade, and I'm assuming it's warm season grass like Bermuda, Rashad, it's just, there's not a whole lot you can do outside of reducing shade. Like I said in my one video, shade in Bermuda is like mayonnaise and ice cream. They just do not go together. Like, Bermuda will tolerate like pretty much anything else. It'll tolerate growing in really poor soil. It'll tolerate growing in concrete. But shade is literally the kryptonite of Bermuda. It does not like it. Nothing will make Bermuda like thin out and not do well like shade. So if it's your house that's doing it, there's probably not a whole lot you can do about that. If there's any trees that are also contributing to the shade problem, if you can trim those back a little bit, that can help. But I don't want to tell you to apply a bunch of different products to your lawn, to the shaded area, in hopes that it's going to make it thicken up, because you're always going to be fighting it. Like, sunlight is the engine that powers everything, especially for Bermuda, right? So if it's a little bit thin, just realize that it's going to be thin in some areas in that particular part of your lawn. If it's so thin that it's bare, like the grass is not growing at all, you might want to consider maybe some type of a fescue, or just turn it into a hardscape, like a mulch bed or something like that. I mean, not the best possible result, but it also depends on how thin we're talking here. We're talking just like a little bit thinner, where it's not as lush as everywhere else. Just live with it, right? That's just par for the course because of the shade. But if it's like a dirt area because it's just not getting enough sunlight, that's when I might opt for like turning it into a mulch bed or some other hardscape, something else that doesn't actually require sunlight to look decent. Great question. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but hopefully it was useful for you. Coming up with a good option for your particular issue. All right, Moro Marsilio's in the house. He says, "Hi Ron, where's LG? The rest of the gang stopping to say hello." LG is in the house. He's quiet tonight. I haven't, he did chime in earlier. I haven't seen JG as yet. Actually, no, she's here too. JG says, "Hey Moro, LG is here, but also hanging out with the irrigation peeps working in the lawn." So LG is preoccupied because surgery is being done on the man's lawn. He wants to oversee it to make sure nothing crazy has happened. I get it. I mean, I appreciate him being in the live stream, but he's got JG here as the proxy. She's holding it down and making sure that everything goes decently and by arrangement. So we appreciate you, JG, for hanging out. And then Christopher says, "Yeah, Dutch was correct." Yep, that's where we go. So Dutch was correct. South African immigrant. Really appreciate the response and hearing what it is you would do, trying to build a thick, strong lawn for my daughter before I deploy. That's awesome, man. Well, first of all, thank you for your service, sir. I really appreciate it. Thanks for that, for everything that goes into, you going over and doing the job that, a lot of us, either can't do or are unwilling to do. So thank you so much for that. And growing up in the island that I grew up on, which is Saint Eustatius, it's Dutch. It's part of the Dutch Antilles. So there's a lot of anytime I see someone's name and it's like so and so Van something, I think it might be a Dutch guy. I guess maybe Germans might use that too. But I mean, in Dutch, it's very very it's a very common thing to have that. Which I think Van is from the earth is what it means. But yeah, very cool, man. And there are a lot of Dutch immigrants in South Africa, so that's cool, man. Very very cool. All right. T-Nug, I think I already answered that question. He says, "How do you feel about tonic soil ammonia-based ferts?" I've never tried them myself, but I've seen videos on it. So it's maybe something I can try out to find out so I can actually give you an answer. But I've never actually tried it myself to be able to say. Jay Coleman says, "Will dimension leave brown spots in my lawn where it kills the crabgrass?" It shouldn't. I mean, it'll leave... Well, I should say this. It will leave brown spots where the crabgrass is dead. So in other words, you get a huge honking crabgrass, right? A really big piece of crabgrass, and its dimension happens to work, because in most cases, dimension really only works against young crabgrass. Where that crabgrass dies, if you got a clump of crabgrass, then yeah, that area is going to be brown because the crabgrass is dead. If you apply it at the proper rate, it should not cause your current grass, like your Bermuda lawn, to become brown. It should not kill that. So does that make sense? So the crabgrass, when it dies, yeah, it's going to be brown, but then that's going to give way for the Bermuda to kind of grow in and fill in those areas. So brown from the crabgrass, but not from the your existing grass from the Bermuda. Again, key word is as long as you apply it at the correct rate. If you go super heavy, you could damage your lawn, and yeah, that will turn it brown. But at the correct rate, it shouldn't significantly yellow your existing lawn. Great question, Jay. Awesome question. Phil says, "Hey Ron, happy Juneteenth. Can you recommend a strong product to kill clover? I sprayed spectricide weed killer with no effect." Okay, so it depends. When you say you sprayed it and you had no effect, is it the first time you sprayed it you had no effect, or did you spray it and it had some effect but it didn't fully kill everything off? Because in most cases, when people say they spray spectricide and they say it didn't work, it did work some, but it may need a follow-up application. So what I would do is, if it's been a couple of weeks since your first application, I would do a second follow-up application of spectricide. I'm assuming you're talking about the orange bottle, the orange label, like this guy here. I think I've still got it here this guy. I'm assuming you're talking about this one, Phil J. If that's the one you're referring to, it's not uncommon to have to do a follow-up application afterwards to really knock those weeds back. So don't give up after one app. Give it a second app. I'd really like to kind of steer you towards that before we go into some of the more commercial grade herbicides, because with those, you really, really got to be paying attention when you apply them. You got to pay attention when you use spectricide too, but with the big boy herbicides, with the really commercial grade ones, you really want to pay attention because you can easily damage the lawn if you're not careful. Very cool. All right, and let's see what else we got here. So Robert Rainey says, "Thanks, Ron. You're very, very welcome, sir." Mr. Camille says, "About to put down T-Nex treatment, top dressed." And then Carlos C says, "Ron, have you ever dealt with Bermuda mite? How do you get rid of them, and what is the best way to recover from the damage?" I don't believe I have, Carlos. Not to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever dealt with Bermuda mites. I don't know if acelepryn actually targets those to know for sure. But no, I don't believe I've ever had to deal with those on my lawn. That's a great question for me to have to answer for next week. So I will take a screenshot of that now to note that for next week's live stream as a question that I owe you an answer to. So Bermuda mites, how to take care of them, and how to recover from the damage. To recover from the damage is probably going to be once you kill them, the Bermuda is going to recover and grow back in. That's in Bermuda. That's normally the case. Once you get rid of the thing that's causing the Bermuda to dying off or like struggle, once you eliminate that and you give Bermuda heat, sunshine, a little bit of nitrogen, it will take care of the rest. That's probably going to be the answer to the second part of your question. But as far as how to get rid of them, I am going to owe you an answer on that one. So great question. I've took a screenshot of it and I made a note here for me to get to that one for next week. And also make a note here in my thing here. So good to go. Great question. Thanks for that, sir. Okay. Already answered your question on that one. John Arthur says, if you have Poa annua in your yard, do you need to dig it out to get rid of it? It depends on your grass type. So for cool season grass, and again, some of the cool season guys can chime in here and tell me that I'm wrong on this one, but for cool season grass, there's not a ton of options that I'm aware of that will target specifically Poa and not damage your cool season lawn. So for warm season grass, it's easy. You can use Image. Image will work against Poa. The thing is though, John, this time of year, as hot as temperatures are, like let's say you're in Georgia, I would tell you just not even to worry about it, because if you still got Poa in your lawn, it's going to be dying off here soon, assuming it's not already dying off. If you have a cool season lawn, digging it out is probably a good way to get rid of it. Again, unless someone in the comments knows of a herbicide, LG or JG. I know you guys both got cool season grass. If you guys can chime in and say, hey, this will work for Poa in a cool season lawn, and not kill the cool season lawn, definitely feel free. But in warm season, there's a lot of different options. I think Certainty will target Poa too. But as far as like something that's consumer grade that you can easily get your hands on, go with something like Image. That will work well against it. The big thing with Image is it takes a while to work, John. So when you put it down, you water it in, and it takes 3 to 5 weeks to actually kill the Poa. But the thing with Image is that it's a gentler herbicide and that it will not generally doesn't hurt your existing grass, doesn't discolor or do anything too bad to it. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Say Bermuda is in the house. What's going on, sir? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Always nice to see other YouTubers in the house. The man with the Tifway 419 lawn and the outlet reel mower. Always nice to see you, Sonny. Thanks for coming to hang out. And we have a super chat from Christopher. Got to get to that one.
Super chat received.
He says, super chat from Christopher Van Neerk. He says, Dutch was right. Thank you for your response. I'm making you famous amongst the other soldiers in SOCOM. All right, man. So you're a Jedi. You're serious. You are someone that's really going over to the other side and to give the enemy a hard time. He says, I refer all my co-workers to your videos. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the support. Thanks again for all you do and for supporting the mission and for keeping us safe over here. Thank you so much. And okay, next we have Dwayne Hopkins up. He says, I'm getting some spurge showing up on my lawn. I did pre-emergent this year. I live in SoCal in an area where there are consistently mid-90s to hundreds. Should I avoid using a herbicide? At those temps, yeah. You can. So here's what will happen, Dwayne. So I have sprayed. I'll tell you what will happen. Here's why you really need to follow the label when it comes to herbicides, especially when it comes to anything that's going to knock out spurge. I have used a dismiss and speed zone combination, and I applied it to my lawn when temps were in the high 80s, and I still got some discoloration. Didn't kill the lawn or anything, but it definitely, like, you could definitely tell that something was sprayed on the lawn, and it discolored it. So with you being in the 90s to 100s, I would stay away from it. I would just wait. Hopefully you're not dealing with a lot, because if you did your pre-emergent app, pre-emergent is typically pretty effective against spurge if it's done properly at the right rates. So hopefully just a little bit here and there. It's just, you can just grab it and pull it. Spurge is kind of hard to pull if you decide you want to do that, because I have been doing it in my lawn. I have been getting little bits of spurge here and there, and I just pull them mainly because I didn't put any pre-emergent on my lawn this spring, and because I seeded it, I'm definitely not putting pre-emergent down right now. But if you decide to pull it, make sure you wear gloves, because the sap that's in spurge, whenever you pull the spurge, the sap that's in it, if it gets on your eyes if it gets in your eyes, it can definitely irritate your eyes. But for some people, the sap is an irritant even for their skin. So wear gloves if you're pulling spurge. You really should wear gloves if you're pulling any weeds in your lawn. But for spurge, definitely that's one you want to wear some kind of gloves for if you are pulling it. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but I would stay away from the herbicides given the temps that you are dealing with. Alan Krebs is saying, happy Friday. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Alan. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Let's see. Robert Rainey says, new to the channel, he says, have you ever put out a day in the life of video? I'm in the tech career world as well and have to commute every other day. And I feel like just keeping my head above water with the lawn. So a life in Ron, like a day in Ron's life, I think it'd be pretty boring. Like you guys, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to watch that. Think about it. I mean, videos in most cases, like it's YouTube, it's not RonTube, right? No one really cares what I'm doing outside of that. It relates to an issue that's going to help you with your lawn, right? So I mean, I don't know if maybe at some point I will do a day in of Ron Henry. It's going to be pretty boring. It's going to be wake up in the morning, mow the lawn, look at my meeting schedule, be sitting on a bunch of conference calls, and try and prevent the people that the organizations that I am tasked to protect from getting hacked. Try to keep them out of the news. Like I have one of those jobs that is kind of thankless. It's like what is it? What is it? The line that Robert De Niro said in The Recruit, that our successes are never known and our failures are very public. So whenever we screw up and we get it wrong, like everybody knows about it, and whenever we do it right, no one ever knows because nothing bad happens, right? So it's kind of a thankless job, but it's fun. Someone has to do it. And we'll see. I mean, at some point, Robert, I just think it'd be boring. I don't think anyone would watch it, but I'll try it out. At some point, I'll try it and we'll see. And I'll definitely mention you and say, hey, Robert, this is for you. You want to see this? So here you go. Okay, Alex B is saying that I don't envy the UK folks with lawn care. They have some nice mowers over there, but they seem to be very limited with available chemicals. What's funny? The UK has a very different approach to lawn care, and it seems to work. Like I watched this one YouTuber. I wish I could remember his name. It's a young guy. I forget his name, but I've been watching some of his content. And the thing that you see about UK lawns is they're a lot smaller than our lawns. And they tend to use a lot more like just natural practices. Like those guys are always out dethatching. They're always scarifying. They oversee their lawns a lot as a means to get it better. They just do a lot of natural things. And their lawns look great, right? And then they mow it a lot. So, that's just another way of doing it that can produce obviously a great result because there's some awesome looking lawns in the UK. Herbicides, they definitely is a fast track route, but I think that if we stateside did more of what they're doing, and we also we have access to our herbicides at PGR and all the other cool toys, right? Our lawns would look amazing, right? Because there is something to be said for chemicals, right? Like PGR is awesome. Like some of the first that we use work really, really well. They do make a difference in the lawn. But I think stateside, we tend to have an over-reliance on those things and not so much on good cultural practices to just keep, the turf in general healthy, right? So, but yeah, the UK guys have great lawns too. It's just a lot more work than what we have to do to get that same result. Okay, Moro Marcilio says, what's the difference between river sand and masonry sand? Which one do you recommend for top dressing? The difference, it's depending on which masonry sand you get. There's different grades of masonry sand as far as the coarseness factor. The reason why I say masonry sand or river sand, Moro, is because both of those are going to be a coarse sand. What I try to get people away from doing is using like a play sand to top dress their lawns. Like you don't want to do that. You want to use a coarser sand because it has more structure and it's not going to form this really, really dense layer that's going to produce problems as far as one, integrating with the existing soil, and also allowing water and nutrient to penetrate that small layer, that thin layer that you're building up with top dressing. But for the purposes of top dressing, river sand and masonry sand, you could say they're interchangeable. If you want to get really pedantic about it, like really particular, masonry sand, there are different grades of it, but the big thing that they both have in common is they're both coarse. They're not fine sand. So either one is going to work fine for top dressing. Good question. It's a great question. Okay, let's see. So 007 Lawn has a question, I think, about overseeding. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Happy Friday to you. Says, is there any downfall to using Bermuda grass seed for a lawn renovation that has a mix of other Bermuda grass seeds, such as Blackjack, Riviera, Maya, all in one bag? Thanks. Your lawn's already kind of a mutt lawn, right? It's a mutt or a mix of all these different grass types, so it can't really hurt. What I would probably do, 007 Lawn, is since your Bermuda lawn is already a mix of those different types, you've got some Blackjack, you've got some Riviera and Maya, I would, like, all those seeds are also available separately, right? So I would either pick either a Blackjack, Riviera, or Maya, and if you're going to overseed or do a renovation, I pick one of those. Or if you can get the same blend, use the same blend to do your overseed as well, because then that guarantees that from a texture standpoint and appearance standpoint, it's going to match pretty well, right? That is what I would do. So I wouldn't, if you already have like Blackjack, Riviera, and Maya, I wouldn't then go throw Arden 15 on top of that, because it will probably look visually different to those other types. And you've already got quite a bit going on in the lawn. I don't think we need to complicate it that much anymore. Great question. JC has a question, says, what's a good, cheap battery operated backpack sprayer that's good for the money? So given those qualifications, I'm going to say the Chapin. Like some people throw a lot of shade on the old Chapin, but I like my Chapin. You know, it served me well. It actually works real well. It still works after all these years. I'll put a link here in the chat for you, JC, at JC. Yep, this guy, the Chapin 24 volt. I like that one. If you're looking for a budget backpack sprayer that I've personally used, I mean, there's other good ones out there. Like there's some ones from some other brands that are getting a lot more visibility now, but I've never actually tested them to be able to say, yeah, it's a good sprayer. The two sprayers I've used are a Flowzone, which does not meet the criteria for being cheap, but in my opinion, it's probably one of the better ones money can buy. As far as like probably the last backpack sprayer you're going to own for a really long time, the Flowzone's probably it. And then the Chapin is a great sprayer too. The thing with the Chapin that you have to be careful about is where they mount the battery. It's a place where water, whenever you're filling it, water can run and get to that area. So you just want to be a little bit more careful with it, more cognizant not to overfill the sprayer. Watch how much you fill it. But as far as a sprayer that works well, you can get a really good result with. Can't go wrong with the Chapin. I still got mine, still hums along just great. And they are not as expensive as the Flowzone. The Flowzones are on the thick end of $300, and they're over $300, like $300 to $350. And then the Flowzone you can get for under $200. Sometimes a little bit less when they're on sale. Like $160, $170, I think is what the Chapin will go for. And again, great sprayer. Great sprayer. Okay, Taylor Urso has a question about aerating his lawn. He says, when I core aerate, the plugs are rock solid clay like cement. Any suggestions to fix this? I was thinking about pulling the plugs and then top dressing with organic. So yeah, so if you have one of those clay soils, and this is a good question because I've gotten this before on picking up, whether to pick up plugs or not to pick up plugs. In my case, on my lawn, I've never picked up plugs because my soil does not do what you're describing here, Taylor. In your case, where your plugs, when you pull them up and they're solid clay and then they harden into like bricks, in that case, you want to get rid of them. It's probably a good idea to rake them or get them off the lawn. As far as things to fix this, top dressing, if you want to start incorporating like a sandy, like a sand soil mix in with that. Do not do 100% river sand for sure. Don't do 100% sand on top of heavy clay. You might get not saying bad good, but it's the more likely you'll get a bad result by doing that. But make sure that whatever you use to top dress your lawn, make sure there's some organic material in it. 70-30 mix works well on most lawn types, even ones that have clay. If you're going to do that, after you core aerate, in your case, because your plugs turn into like bricks, like you're saying, get those off the lawn. Not something I've ever done, but in your case, I would get rid of them and then do a nice top dressing with a 70-30 blend, and that's going to go a lot. You're going to start introducing like a sandier mix, and over time, you're going to help improve the soil. It's going to help improve drainage. There's tons of benefits to top dressing, but that is what I would do. That's the method I would go about for top dressing your lawn based on what you're describing. Great question. Says, also love your vids. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. And I actually have a good video on top dressing. There's one that I did last month in May around top dressing that shows the entire process. So the only thing in that video that you'll see that you'll want to change and not do, like in my case where I didn't pick up the plugs because my lawn I don't need to. In your case where you want to pick up the plugs, that's what you would do. And everything else you can follow. Sans the overseeding. You don't have to overseed your lawn unless you want to. I'm trying to find the video here so I can just send it to you. Yep, here we go. So at Taylor, that's an interesting spelling of Taylor. Normally it's a Taylor, but it's cool. It's cool spelling of it. That video, that is a top dressing video. I just sent it to you in the chat, Taylor. So take a look at that, and that will help you out as far as how I recommend you top dress your lawn. Great stuff. All right, LG says, good evening, Moro, Marcelo, Josh Habib, and JG. And then, so LG's back in the house. I guess the irrigation work or the sprinkler work is fixed. He's back with us. And then Arturo Alvarado says, how do I get rid of my Saint Augustine that's growing on my hybrid Bermuda? A couple of ways. So, anything with quinclorac in it is going to be, any herbicides with quinclorac in it are going to be stressful to the going to be stressful to the Saint Augustine, but the Bermuda will be just fine with it. So, if you want to go a more natural route, start mowing your Bermuda shorter. So if you can mow your Bermuda, 1.5 inches, you didn't say what kind of mower you have, Arturo, but let's say you have a rotary. If you can mow your Bermuda shorter, like around 1 inch, 1.5 inches, like that's going to be really good for the Bermuda, not so good for the St. Augustine. The St. Augustine does not like to be mowed that short. From a chemical route, I'm trying to think if there's a herbicide that's specifically designed to kill Saint Augustine. I know that quinclorac will definitely, if it won't straight out kill it, it's definitely going to knock it back strongly. So if you can couple mowing shorter with something like what has quinclorac in it, that could work well. That could work well to help knocking back the Saint Augustine while also not harming your Bermuda. But the thing is, mowing, don't discount the mowing part, right? By giving the Bermuda what it wants and also taking away what the Saint Augustine wants, you're tipping the scales in Bermuda's favor that it's going to be able to eventually overrun that Saint Augustine. And then when you throw a herbicide on top of it, you're going to be well on your way to knocking that Saint Aug back and having a Bermuda lawn. Great question. The other way around is a really hard question. I don't know a way to really do that to get Bermuda out of Saint Augustine, but getting a Saint Aug out of Bermuda, that's easier than the other way around. Okay, Ray Jasso says, "Hey Ron, I cut my Arden 15 at 2 inches. Should I raise my height of cut during the summer? We'll start hitting 100 to 110 degrees here in West Texas. Drought season. I also use a rotary mower. I wouldn't. Like 2 inches for Bermuda is already pretty high. I wouldn't go any higher. As long as you can keep up with the mowing rate. So in other words, if you can mow your lawn, at 2 inches, really twice a week. I mean, you're probably doing it less than that, but if you can mow your lawn twice a week, you can continue to mow it or maintain it at 2 inches with no problem. Like Arden 15, like most Bermudas, prefers to be short than to be tall. So if you're already at 2 inches and the grass looks good at that height, I would keep maintaining it at that height. I wouldn't necessarily go it any taller because what's going to happen is it's going to start to thin out. It's going to start getting leggy and just not looking really good because Bermuda just doesn't like to be mowed tall. Most people around here have like 3-inch Bermuda and their lawns look like it's 3-inch Bermuda, but versus lawns that are mowed short look really good because you're cutting the grass in a way that it wants to be cut. You're giving it what it wants. That makes sense. Great question. Great question. Cedric is in the house. Just like Dries says, Matt scientist, you're definitely that dude. Thank you so much, sir. Because I know you're kind of shy away from compliments, but your expertise have helped so many people achieve an improved lawn. I am very close to a Greensmaster 1600 purchase. What the thing is, I put out the content that I would want to watch if I were trying to do what I do with my lawn. And, people that actually follow it and they get a great result, that's awesome. But, it's, again, I didn't come fix your lawn. Like, you're the one that fixed it. You're the one that's always mowing it. So, saying that I did your lawn that's not really the case. I may have given you guys some knowledge that's useful and that you took some of it and incorporated it into your program, but it's always your hard work that produces the results. So, good stuff. If I could bottle up Ron Henry in a bottle and sell that, and it would come out and fertilize your lawn for you and mow your lawn for you and do everything else, I'd be a really, really rich guy, but that technology does not yet exist. So there we go. Naidu says, why isn't Nutrizolve available in 2.5 gallons? That's a good question. I can ask the people at Ecologyl. I know that it is available in those sizes. I'm not sure why it's not sold online in those sizes. It might be a thing where like shipping it to where you don't have issues with spillage or leakage could be an issue. I know that it is bottled in larger containers. I know it is bottled in larger containers, but it's not in the store in those containers. So that's a great question. I will ask that as far as making it available in 2.5 gallon quantities. Let me make a note of that. So 2.5 gal for Nutrizolve. I'll ask that for all the other Ecologyl products too, because if anyone that wants the Nutrizolve is probably going to want the other ones in those sizes as well too. Great question. Okay, Cedric's like, turfs up, fert down, stripe action forever. My man, I like it. Okay, K Swan has some questions about doveweed in Bermuda. I'm not so sure if the 470 will take care of that one. I have to look. He says, hey Ron, what to do about doveweed in Bermuda? I live in Mississippi, #Hail State, and I've always done pre-emergent, but it's popping up everywhere. What post-emergent will kill it? Real mowing seems to spread it. Interesting. Let's see. I don't know if the 470 will do doveweed, but it does. It is rated for that. So as far as a post-emergent that is going to be inexpensive for you to get your hands on, and that is rated to work against doveweed, Keys and Skinnerd is this one here. So the Spectracide Weed Stop, the orange label, and you got Bermuda. So yes, we're good to go on that one. So this guy is the one you're going to want to use on your lawn that is labeled to work against doveweed. As long as temps, the big thing is you want to make sure that your temps are not above 90 degrees. So this guy needs to be applied between 45 degrees and 90 degrees. So if your temps are a lot hotter than that, we're just not going to want to, you're going to want to wait till things cool down a bit to spray this on your lawn. But this should work against the doveweed. It may take more than one application because it sounds like you've got a fairly heavy infestation of it, but that's a good product that's fairly budget friendly. That should work well for doveweed in your lawn. So that's what I would go with. And you can pick that up at Home Depot or big box stores, anything that's nearby you, and it's a pretty effective product. Definitely cheaper than going with something that's specifically targeted for doveweed. That's more commercial grade. It's a lot more expensive. Okay. Let's see. So Papa Mo's Low is saying to Robert about the half rate on PGR. He went that Papa Mo's Low went at half rate the first time using it and didn't notice much difference. Wish I'd went with the recommended rate. So there you go. Great question. Mazama Blue is in the house and he says, Ron, mid-month application of Turfplex, because we got like acronyms now, is abbreviations, Turfplex and Release Zero from your store, working wonders. Thank you so much, sir. I'm glad to hear that you're having a great result with the product. Going to keep it up with deep watering, with light N for summer months. Anything I could prep to mitigate brown. You're doing a lot of the right things, man. I mean, you're fertilizing at the right rates. You're using the Release Zero, so those are great products that are going to help you just improve the health of your grass. Something else you can do if you've not done it as yet in Mazama Blue is consider incorporating some hydrotane into your lawn care program. This time of year, it really will do a lot to help pull some moisture into the root zone, which is going to help your grass do better. It's finally back in stock in the golf course lawn store. So if you are looking for it, I can give you links here. I'll just give you a link to the Granular because that's the one I think I have a link for here in my notes here. So let me get rid of this and I will get that for you. So there we go. All right. So for the Granular hydrotane, Mazama Blue, actually I'll put both of them in there. So I got the liquid here too. So I got both of them for you. So at Mazama Blue for liquid, that guy. Or for granular, that guy, and for liquid, if you decide you want to go that route, I've got you covered there too. One of those two is what I would start doing in addition to what you're already doing, because your program is great, man. There's not a whole lot that I would really change about it. You sound like you're watering properly. Adding hydrotane is like that cherry on top. It's going to help reduce the stress in the grass. It should help mitigate some of that, some brown in the grass from the hot temps you're about to get here. So so definitely give that a shot. That should help. Great question. And thank you for supporting the golf course lawn store and for trying out Release Zero. It's really cool, guys. I got to tell you, like, I was really nervous when I reached out to Miramichi Green and really asked them to take a chance on us on making those products. Again, they mainly service the golf course industry, professional turf industry, to make the products available in a smaller quantity for residential lawns. I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad you guys are using it and having a great response. Because I knew it. I knew you guys were going to love the products once you got to use them. So I'm really glad about the response. So definitely keep letting me know. Okay. Cedric has a question here. He says that he's a product called Surge that destroys the doveweed. It worked very, very well, extremely well. So there's another option for you. I've never used that one before, but that's another option if you try the weed stop and you don't like it, but that's another option. Okay, Mercury has a question about a diseased tree. He says, Ron, have you ever dealt with a diseased tree? Would it be best to treat it with something or chop off the disease section? I've never dealt with that one, Mercury02. I don't really have many trees on my lawn, on the property, so I've never dealt with a disease one to know what the best way to deal with it is. I mean, you probably can cut out the disease part, and if you want to keep the tree, like I would imagine that's probably going to be the best course of action versus letting it to just kind of spread and run throughout the rest of the tree. But I've never actually done that to be able to tell you for sure what's the best route. If anyone in the chat has done that, has dealt with diseased trees and knows the best way to deal with that, feel free to answer Mercury02's question. I'm just not sure. My initial instinct would be to cut off the disease part, but I that's just guessing. I've never actually done it to be able to tell you for sure what would happen. Okay. NWS has a question about which fertilizer would you use to spoon feed Saint Augustine grass. Great question. So the fertilizer that I would use, again, the best whenever you ask me which fertilizer is best, the best way to know the answer to that question, NWS0291, is to get a soil test done. The one that I recommend is the one from My Soil. Super easy to use. You're going to get your results in less than a week, and that's going to tell you exactly what your soil needs. As far as getting the answers to the test, like literally like taking care of your lawn in cheat mode, that is the way to go. As far as what I would use to spoon feed Saint Augustine, let's assuming that your soil test is all flat, right? So you can use anything you want. What I would go with is what I use, which is this guy, which is the Turfplex, the 22-3. This is a great fertilizer. It doesn't take very much of it to get a great result. Literally, you're going to want to apply this at a rate of 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet on your lawn, and that's going to do a great job as far as giving you plenty of N, and it's going to produce a really good result. It's got a little iron in there too, so it's going to give you a little bit of green up. So I would use like the Turfplex, the 22-3 formulation at the lowest rate. See how the grass does. If you're doing mainly a spoon feeding program, or mainly a liquid program, you can go a little bit heavier. There are application rates on the label for heavier rates, but like let's say that 6 ounce per 1,000 rate is money, man. I've been using it. It's really, really good. You're gonna get a really good result with it. It is also available at the golf course lawn store. So if you're looking to get that, you can pick it up today. It is in stock and shipping today. Great question. Okay. Ben Randall has a question about a dog, and he says, hey, I have a dog and I'm nervous about using Scott's Turf Builder, Weed, Crab, Grass Fertilizer, GrubX, and Moss X products. Can you talk about these products and pet safety? Keeping him off is not possible. So here's the thing, Ben. So I will tell you what the label says, okay? This is like a disclaimer. Anything is possible, but based on the label, if those products, so like the weed and feed, the insecticide, the fungicide, if they are applied at the label rate and they're watered in, like all of those need to be watered in. Yes, everything you just listed there needs to be watered in. So if you apply those and you water them in, typically in most cases, according to the label, it's safe for kids and pets to re-enter the lawn the next day. Okay, so as long as you're doing that, as long as you can keep them off the lawn for a day, so say you apply the weed and feed in the morning, you water it in heavily, so you get it down into the soil, or you just wait for it to dry, so the lawn is not wet anymore. In that case, you're typically safe for kids or pets to re-enter the lawn. Most of the herbicides or fungicides that pose a health risk to people and pets aren't labeled or aren't labeled for residential lawns. They're not labeled for residential use. Like most of the stuff that even like the professional guys around here are spraying, like they'll spray stuff on your lawn and they'll stick a sign in the yard saying, stay off the lawn, keep pets and kids off the lawn until the next day. So as long as you're applying those to your lawn at the correct rate, at label rate, you're following the label and you're using the proper activation method. In most cases, it's watering it in, and you're waiting till the next day, you should be good to go. So just keep, if you can, out of abundance of caution, keep the dog off the lawn for the day after you apply the product. So apply it in the morning, water, and then keep the fur babies off the lawn until the following day, and you should be good to go. But again, read the label, follow what the label says. In most cases, you're going to be just fine. But it's I get it. Dogs are really, it's your fur baby, right? You don't want anything bad to happen to it. But in most cases, anything that you can buy for residential use, especially anything you buy for residential use at a big box store, is going to be safe for pets as long as you follow the recommended rate. Okay, Chuck Palmer says, have you ever experienced a problem with Japanese beetles? Not really, because I don't really have many ornamentals in my lawn. I used to have roses, but they're all gone now. There are a couple of herbicides that will target that. Most of them have this product called this type of oil, a neem oil that will work against them. But I can't give you a specific answer, Chuck, to say, yeah, use this particular product because I've never, again, it's not something I've really had to deal with per se, because I don't really have a lot of ornamentals in my lawn. And the ones that I do have, I kind of wish they would die off. I don't really, I don't have a lot of like plants or roses or things that Japanese beetles are really appreciative of. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but what I do know is that most products that have neem oil in them, that seems to work well against Japanese beetles. And just on cue, Wise Guy is saying, by the way, people, if you could touch the like button ever so gently, not hard, don't go hard, guy, don't smash it. That's a Graham Stephan thing. I want you guys to touch it ever so gently. It doesn't cost you guys anything. It's a really easy way to support the channel. I can freshen up my lemonade, and it's going to do good things for the live stream. Since people are away, we're gonna have a great time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks again. And of course, Jay Pompano My brother from another mother from the Northeast has cool season grass, but he's still okay. Likes to make fun of me whenever I drink my lemonade. But it's what I do, man. That's what I do. It's the sound I make when I drink lemonade. I can't do anything about it. Sorry, man. Just can't. Besides, all that dead air is kind of. All right. Let's see what else we got here. So next level lawn care is talking about a fertilizer you can't spill the beans on. I gotcha. Okay. Very, very cool. Jay Pompano says it's a little dry and droutish up here in Connecticut. Is it okay to keep spraying Carbon Pro L during, assuming the grass just pulls through it foliarly and still happy? Yeah, you can still spray it. It's not going to be a problem. I mean, Carbon Pro L isn't really a fertilizer per se in the sense that it's pushing a lot of nitrogen. It has, if memory serves me, a little bit of iron in it, just a splash of iron. So yeah, if you want to keep spraying it, yeah, go for it. If the grass is still green, it's still growing, even though it's maybe a little bit stressed, if you want to put down some Carbon Pro L, it can't hurt things. It can't hurt things. It can only help. But yeah, if you told me you were going to spray like a heavy nitrogen fertilizer, when the grass is trying to go into dormancy, I might tell you, let's pump the brakes on that or slow down a little bit. But Carbon Pro L should be good to go. No issues there. JC says, is it okay to use lime any time of year? It's a great question. Most people apply lime in the spring and the fall. The thing with lime is, right, you want to apply it and let it have enough time to react with the soil. So I have applied lime to my lawn a couple of weeks ago, right, based on my soil test results. And I did that because I knew I was going to get really, really heavy rain and have it watered in and have it taken up. And it was around the time of the month like where I wasn't going to be doing any granular fertilizer application. I've spoken to the guys at My Soil and also a friend of mine that's an agronomist. And he said that it doesn't. He said the reason why most people do it the time to typically do that is in the spring and the fall, right? But there's not really any research that says that applying lime now is going to negatively hurt anything. The big thing is you got to make sure you water it in, right? The one negative to doing lime now is that if you put it down on your lawn and you don't water it in and you're doing a really heavy lime application, so you're doing like 40 or 50 pounds per thousand, like a relatively heavy app, and you let it sit on the leaf, it can cause some burning, right? So what you're going to want to do is, as long as you're putting it down, and again, keyword, you're heavily watering it and you're getting it off the leaf, you're getting it off the foliage into the soil, you're good to go. What I might do is I might not do a lime application and a fertilizer application on the same day. I'd probably do the lime application, like say the beginning of the month, and then you could wait a couple of weeks to do your fert app just to give the lime a little bit more time to react with the soil. So frankly, you're going to get a little bit more out of your fertilizer app. So yeah, hopefully that helps answer your question, JC. The big thing with lime whenever you're applying it to actively growing grass is you want to make sure it's watered in very, very, very well. That's the only negative or the only thing you got to be really careful of with that. Okay, Adam says my lawn made my two neighbors fire their lawn companies. Okay, so that's not fair. It's fair, but it's not fair. Your lawn is, I'm sure it looks really great, but you're spending a lot of time on it. You're looking at it all the time. You're spraying really good products on it. And you can't necessarily look at what we do with our lawns, like us lawn care geeks, and look at what lawn care companies do and say that, if a lawn care company can't reproduce the results that we're getting, that they're bad at their job, right? Because, they're doing only a few applications per year, and financially, they can only afford to do that, or unless they have to charge you guys a whole lot more money. And in a lot of cases, Adam Reed, here's the thing. I'm sure you're applying really good fertilizers to your lawn, but the big thing that I can bet that you're doing more than your neighbors is mowing. And the lawn care companies don't really have anything to do with that. Like if everybody mowed their lawn a whole lot more, even if you relied on a lawn care service, your lawn would look really good, right? It would look better than it did if you just let them spray it and that they sprayed and prayed and you didn't do anything else. So don't discount the fact that you also mow a lot more than they do. I would imagine that's also producing that great result. Not to go out and I'm defending lawn care companies because, really, I guess technically they're kind of like our competition, right? Like if you use them, you're not going to buy things in the store. But I mean, you have to be fair. Like fair is fair, right? They're not applying the same products, but also most people that rely on lawn care services, most times they don't necessarily mow the lawn themselves or they don't mow very frequently. And that is really the secret sauce to getting a great looking lawn, just something to keep in mind. Okay, Naidu is in the house and he says, why don't you carry Carbon Pro L? It seems better than the Miramichi product. Great question. Two reasons. One, it's not better than the Miramichi Green products. That's the first thing. And then second, I can't carry it because Carbon Pro L is only kind of like Carbon Pro G is a product that is a mixer, a blender makes for Lesco. The only place you can really buy Carbon Pro L is at Site 1. Kind of like Carbon Pro G, Miramichi Green makes the product for Lesco Site 1. So the only place you can buy that product is at a Site 1. Carbon Pro L is a good product. I'm not like throwing shade at it or anything like that. But if you compare like what it costs, it's kind of expensive. If you compare what's in the carbon kit, so you have the Release Zero, the NutriKelp, and the BioSpectrum, it's not even close as far as the microbial package that you're putting in, the micronized carbon that's in it, the 24% kelp versus I think it's like 5% kelp or something like that. That's in Carbon Pro L. It's just like it's not even in the same ballpark as far as like what is better for your lawn. And it costs less money, and you can actually get it. So the big reason why I also reached out to Miramichi Green is one, I wanted to like up my game as far as like a better product that I can start using on my lawns, and I also needed something that you guys could get your hands on, right? Like with the course that I did at the Golf Course Lawn Academy here at golfcourselawn.com. I go through even in more detail than what you guys see in the YouTube videos, like techniques for mixing these products and using them all together. Also incorporating Nutrizolve and just other techniques for getting a really, really good looking lawn. And I can't, talk about a product in a course that people can't buy. So like, yeah, Carbon Pro L is a good product, but like unless you have a Site 1 nearby you can't really get it. So people are going to get really mad at me if I say, yeah, use all these products that you can't actually get your hands on easily anyway. In my course. So the fact that Miramichi Green, after begging and pleading, they were very nice and they said, yeah, we'll take a chance on you guys, or we'll put together these products, our products like the NutriKelp, the Release Zero, in a smaller quantity that will work for DIY community at a price that is more attractive than Carbon Pro L. That is the reason why. So that's why I switched to it. So it is better, and I do like what I'm offering between the NutriKelp, the Release Zero, and the BioSpectrum is better than Carbon Pro L, and you can actually get it online. I can't actually carry Carbon Pro L in the store. Nobody can, other than Site 1, and they don't sell online, not yet anyway. Okay, Dev Rockney has a question. He says, what is your thoughts on tenacity for pre-emergent on cool season lawns? So tenacity, I don't have a cool season lawn, so I can't really speak to it. If I were looking for strictly a pre-emergent on a cool season lawn, I would use prodiamine. Or I would use dithiopyr, something with like dithiopyr in it, like Dimension, or I'd use prodiamine. I would use a dedicated pre-emergent. Like Tenacity is really a post-emergent herbicide that has some pre-emergent qualities to it, but it doesn't work as long or as well as a dedicated pre-emergent like prodiamine or something that has like Dimension, like dithiopyr. So that is my thoughts. Again, I don't have cool season grass, but for my friends that do have it that I've spoken to, they're like saying, yeah, it's really good for killing weeds, but I still put prodiamine down on my lawn for pre-emergent. So I trust them, and it makes sense to me, like a product that's trying to be a blend product, so it's not really a master of any of them, or a dedicated product. Like the dedicated product is usually going to do a better job. Susie Q's in the house says, just checking in, back from taking in all the great information. Thanks for all you do for the lawn community. Thank you so much, Susie Q. I really appreciate you hanging out in the live stream. Always awesome. And next up here, we have a question from Bucci, from Ex Bucci. He's got some rough ones. He's dealing with some serious issues in his lawn. He says, hi, Ron. My lawn is overrun with some type of grassy weeds, crabgrass, Dallas grass, goose grass, not sure. Sprayed Ortho Weed Killer and Image Weed Killer. Both have conchloride, but did not work. Help. Okay, so if you have Dallas grass and goose grass, those two are Dallas grass. I know that there's nothing you're going to buy at Home Depot that's going to kill Dallas grass outside of Roundup. And when it comes to using Roundup on Dallas grass, I wouldn't even say spray it directly on it. That's going to mean like spraying, like again, putting gloves on, like full PPE, like good thick, heavy duty gloves, not like some thin gloves, or heavy duty gloves. Putting some of the Roundup like on a sponge, and then like wiping it onto the grass, onto the Dallas grass. So you can do that to kind of knock it back. But as far as getting rid of it, the best way to get rid of Dallas grass is to dig it up. Like there's not many, I don't know of any herbicides that are rated for residential use that are very, very effective against Dallas grass. Most of the ones that I can think of, the ones that will kill it, are not ones that you can or should be using on residential lawns. So So yeah, for goosegrass, I don't know if certainty will get that one. Goosegrass is another rough one too. I want to say blindside might do it, but blindside is also one of those herbicides that's also pretty restrictive as far as where it'll ship to. I don't think it'll do goosegrass either. I'm not sure on that one, man. I don't have an answer for you on that Xbuchi. Those both are really tough ones. There's not a whole lot you're gonna find at Home Depot that will knock out the Dallas grass and the goosegrass. The crabgrass, you can get rid of that with, assuming it's young, with the Spectricide. Spectricide works really well against young crabgrass. If you have fully grown like adult crabgrass, I mean, you can put chloride on it, but I mean, it's not gonna, like most weeds, crabgrass is one of those ones where you catch it early, you have a much better result getting rid of it. The other two, with Dallas grass for sure, digging it out is gonna be your best bet. And for goosegrass, I don't know one off the top of my head what herbicide will work well against it. So I might just dig it out as well, since you're gonna be out there digging out the Dallas grass as well. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. But yeah, and you do have Bermuda, so the Spectricide will work as a good option against the crabgrass, but not for the other two. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. Okay, NWS 0291 says, any experience using natural adjuvants and lowering pH before spraying? Oh, no, not really. Are you talking about like lowering the pH of the water before spraying whatever you put in the backpack? I've seen some people do that. I've seen some people put, I think, like citric acid in with their water to lower it, but I've just never, I've never done it. There might be some benefit to it, but I can't say for sure what that would be. So personally, no. I've heard of people doing it, and I don't know that it actually produces a measurable result. I think we've gotten this question before, and I think SMK was in the live stream, and he actually said there's no reason to do it. He said that the pH of like drinking water is such that it's actually not necessary. Like if you had like well water, maybe, but if you're spraying drinking water, like tap water, there's not any reason to do it. I believe that's what he said in the live stream. Because I think we've covered this one before, I believe. All right, Philip Ballesteri says, can you use aerate in the summer? I don't know. I believe you should be able to, but I've never used that product before, Philip. The carbon kit, so like Release Zero, NutriKelp, and BioSpectrum, which I guess are products that kind of compete with aerate, you can spray them at any time of year while your grass is growing. So yeah, those you can use now, no problem. Aerate, if I had to guess, I would say yes, you probably can use it during the summer, but I've never actually used it to know for sure. So I would check the product label and see if there's any restrictions, but there's probably not going to be. There's probably not going to be on that one. All right. August Jonas says, are you looking forward to the new 16-inch MacBook Pro with the new M1X chip? It should be pretty awesome. Should be pretty baller, August. I mean, the new Apple Silicon is pretty awesome. We'll see. We'll see what the benchmarks are with it. The big thing with M1 is not so much about raw speed. The issue is just making sure all the software that you use is adopted. For a good example, like with Final Cut, obviously Final Cut works with it, right? But there's some plugins that you use that you might use in Final Cut, or other plugins you use in other software that have not even been ported for M1 as yet. So while it's going to be awesome, it's going to be great because it's Apple, right? I don't know that it's worth jumping on the bandwagon like right away if you're a professional and you actually rely on it. Like for me, I still have like an Intel-based Mac. And all my Macs are Intel-based that I use for work, because I need my computers, they need to work, right? Because that's what I use for professionally. But I think in a couple of years from now, maybe this time next year, when everything is ported, yeah, M1's going to have a lot worth considering at that point. But right now, for me, probably not. Great question. Grant Hammond says, are you a liquid or granular guy? The answer to the question is yes, I am both. I love liquid fertilizers and I love granular fertilizers. I love liquids and granulars for most things. So for herbicides, depending on what I'm spraying, more than likely, in most cases, that's going to be liquid. For my fungicides, that's where I tend to go granular. For fertilizer, a combination of liquid and granular. If you're interested in seeing like what I do for my liquid granular and my liquid and granular program, I've got a video that covers my spoon feeding program that I'll have to pull up here. Yep, I got it right here. I'll find that for you and I'll drop it in the chat. And you can take a look at that and you can see exactly which products I use, why I use them, the rates that I use them at, all that fun stuff. And you can decide, is it something you want to try yourself? I get a really good result with it. Other people that are in my program get a really good result with it, but just something for you to check out and see for yourself. T. Bennett is talking about hydrotane. He's saying it's great stuff. Put some out today in anticipation of all the rain on Sunday we're getting in the fine state of Georgia. Good timing, T. Bennett. I've already got mine down. I put some down late May. So yeah, I should be still covered. I should still be good to go. But glad that you're getting yours out. You're definitely timing it right. So for any of you guys that are considering hydrotane, the granular and the 15-pound granular and the 1-gallon liquid are now both back in stock at the golf course lawn store. Feel free to pick those up. I don't know how long or what the distribution is going to be like, if they're going to still, as far as if there's going to be a supply chain issue again. But so if you're considering doing it, now would be the time to grab it, get it before it sells out. It's a great product. It works really well. I mean, I've seen really good results on my lawn this year with it. Chris Bermuda is in the house. He says, I have Bermuda with mid-90s temps, and I'm looking forward to applying growth regulator. We'll also have some runners spreading into some bare areas. Will PGR impact the runners? Not really, Chris. PGR really impacts the ability of grass to grow up, but not so much the ability for grass to grow out. Right now, if you apply PGR to your lawn, could it potentially suppress lateral growth a little bit? Sure, yeah. Because gibberellic acid synthesis, while that's primarily associated with top growth, with cell division that causes like the stalk to grow taller. There's nothing that says that it's not going to have a small effect on lateral growth as well too. But I've had PGR on my lawn since May, and it's been there's a spot on my lawn. If you're not following my YouTube stories, check them out. It's only on mobile. Check out my YouTube stories. And there's a spot on my lawn where I had some spring dead patch. Right, there's a spot about yay big. It's about a 8-inch by 8-inch section, something about like that. Right. And if you look at it, I actually give you guys updates on that in those YouTube stories early in the morning, and it's growing in great. Like I had PGR on my lawn the entire time, and the runners are still growing in that section of the lawn really nicely. So the answer to your question is it shouldn't have a negative impact on the ability of Bermuda to run laterally. It's going to impact its ability to grow tall, but not across the lawn, not in any kind of material way that I've ever seen anyway. So great question. That's a really, really good one. Okay, let's see what questions we got here. Brian Madewell says, would you recommend spraying fertilizer in morning or late afternoon? I spray in the early morning. That's when I tend to do it. I tend to do my sprays in the early morning. I've done it in the afternoon too, but I just find it convenient to do it in the morning, mainly because I can get up early before I have a shower. I get out of bed, put my stuff on, go out, spray the lawn, then shower, and then I'm clean. I don't have to worry about it, right? Because I have this thing where anytime I spray or I'm dealing with any kind of lawn products, I always take a shower afterwards. Like I always get rid of the clothes and take a shower. And if I do it in the afternoon, then I'm gonna have to shower, and I have to go out again in the evening. I'm gonna have to shower again, right? So I tend to do them mainly in the morning, mainly because of just this. Like I like to always shower after dealing with any kind of lawn product application in the lawn. Definitely anything that has side in it, so herbicide, insecticide, fungicide. Definitely showering after that. But even for the liquids, because I just like to wake up early in the morning, I can spray them when it's cool out, get them down. There's not going to be as much wind, and then shower and not have to worry about it. So either way will work well, Brian. I personally like the morning more so than the afternoon for the reasons that I just gave. Okay, Greg Line has a question about reel mowing. He says, hey, Ron, it's been a while since I could visit the show. No problem. You're here now. We appreciate you. He says, can a reel mower be used with Saint Augustine grass since I may be moving to Florida and I hear it's the main grass type there? Thanks. No, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, Saint Augustine grass is designed to be mowed tall. So if you ever watch like Alan Hain, lawn care nuts grass, I think he's mowing his Saint Augustine like 4 inches or something like that. It's like 4 inches or taller. Like the taller is better for Saint Aug, right? And most reel mowers, I think the true cut will go up over 2 inches maybe, but most reel mowers won't get to that height. So again, when it comes to mowing grass, right, it's always about using the right tool for the job. For Bermuda, a reel mower is the best option, the best tool to use for mowing Bermuda, Zoysia, centipede, like those creeping, those shortcut warm season grass types. St. Augustine is kind of an outlier. That's a warm season grass, but it grows taller, prefers to be mowed tall. So in that case, I would just invest in a nice Toro Recycler or a Honda HRX, like a really nice rotary mower. Keep the blades sharp. Get a couple of blades and keep them sharp. and just use that to cut it. That is the best tool for the job when it comes to mowing Saint Augustine, not a real mower. I wouldn't try because just you're not going to get a good result. Real mowers and tall grass just don't work well. Even if you could get them to go up that tall, because they tend to mash the grass down, it just tends to create like a really sketchy cut. Even mowed at like 1.5 inch real mowed doesn't look as good as when it's really mowed tight like it's really supposed to be. So hopefully that helps. It's going to save you a bunch of money because rotary mowers are a lot less expensive than real mowers. So that's always a good thing. Richard Hartwell is saying, I will smash the like button. This is a nice place to ask questions. I'm glad that is the case, Richard. I appreciate you smashing the like button. And that's the thing. I always try and make it fun and easy. Even if someone asks a question, there's no silly or dumb questions, because everyone is starting from somewhere. And, I always wish that I had someone to be able to bounce questions off of when I was starting out. So that's why I do this. All right. So Dalvin Larry is back in the house. He says, is the recommended fert from my soil test meant to be used for the entire season? My recommendation was the 12 in March. I have Humic Max wanting to use that instead for my next fert app. So the best way to know, Dalvin, is to do a soil test, right? It is to know. So, I'm not sure if you sent me your soil test results. I want to say, I think I have seen an email from you. In other words, if you are applying the 12, I'm thinking it's probably recommending that because your phosphorus levels were low. If they were just outside of where they should be and you've done a couple of applications of the 12, you're probably fine to switch to the Humic Max, no problem going forward. But the best way to know for sure is a soil test, right? I without seeing the soil test data, I can't tell you for sure what you should be using. If you've done a couple of apps of the 12, you're probably fine to use Humic Max. I will tell you that. We could go out on a limb and say that's probably going to be just fine. If you want to know for sure, do another soil test. Get another one of these guys, do another soil test, and it will tell you for sure where you are as far as where things go. Great question. And you said maybe the better question is, should I get a mid-season soil test and adjust ferts from there? Yes, you should. That is the right answer to the question. Now, here's the thing. If you are going to get one of these tests done, if you're going to get a soil test done, what I would recommend is do it as far away from your last fertilizer application. So I did a soil test in the beginning of June. So I did one in, my last soil test was in February, right? So we did 3 months. And I waited till right before I'm supposed to do my next fertilizer application, and I did my soil test then. So I did in other words, I did my soil test. I applied fertilizer in late May whenever I top dressed the lawn. That gave me a good 4 weeks without any fertilizer, without any granular fertilizer anyway going into the lawn. And then I pulled my cores and did the test that way. That's going to give you the best possible result. If you can wait even longer, that's good. But as much time as you can between the last fertilizer app and when you pull samples, at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks or longer is even better, is what I would recommend. And you're absolutely right. Getting a soil test done is going to be the best way to find out. If you need to get a soil test, you can pick one up at the Golf Course Lawn Store. They are in stock and shipping now. You know me. The answer. If you ask me, should you get a soil test done? The answer is never going to be no. Just make sure you do it at the right time, if at all possible. All right. Moonshare says, my lawn is under regulation. I miss mowing. You can still get out there and mow. You can still have the fun mows. You can still go out there and just mow your grass anyway. PGR doesn't mean your grass doesn't mow at all. It just means it grows a lot less. Like my lawn's under PGR and I still mow it. I'm still mowing it, so there's still some clippings that are going to come off even with PGR. It's just not going to be nearly as long. Okay. And LG is chiming in. He says, phenoxaprop for goose grass in cool season. I don't know if that's rated for warm season grass. I think he has Bermuda algae, so I'm not sure. You can check the label if you got it up there real quick and know if that will work in cool season and warm season grass. But again, we want to make sure, because what works in cool season a lot of times is the death of warm season grass. We don't want to be hurting warm season lawns while we're trying to get rid of weeds, right? R. Colson says, happy Friday, sir. I am away on vacation for Father's Day. Congratulations. Congrats on going on vacation, and happy Father's Day to you, sir. And hoping PGR does the trick until I get back and can mow. Yes, I'm checking my camera now just to see how the lawn is looking. It's going to help some. It's depending on how long you're gone for. I'm not sure how long, you didn't say how long you're going for, but it's better than if you had not put PGR down. How's that, right? But yeah, it's going to help some, but don't expect any miracles. In other words, if you don't expect that the lawn's going to look the exact same way as it looked before you left. If you put PGR down and you're gone for like a week, it's still going to grow. It's still going to be a little bit taller than you probably would like. But PGR is definitely a good thing, especially if you're going on vacation. Scott Musgrave says, coming to say hi. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coming to hang out. Guys, we are getting close. We are getting close to that time. And just so you guys know, the 100 of you that hung out, so see, the 100 of you guys that are the diehard, or the 98 of you that are the diehard, the giveaway tonight, we're getting close. I got a couple more questions, but I wanted to give you guys time to also go through and do the thing that's going to be required to be able to win the giveaway. Now, I'm hoping this worked. I found a comment, a random picker that should work based on YouTube comments, right? I think that should work. I hope this should have done a comment already. Let me see if it's actually picking it up. It says there's no comments in the live stream as yet. So I'm not sure if you guys can actually comment now. That's a good point. I'm not sure there's actually going to be a comment that can happen. So what we might have to do, we'll try it out. We'll try it out. If you can comment in the live stream, I don't think that commenting is turned on as yet. What we'll do is you can comment this week. I don't think you can. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So what's going to happen is this, okay? Anyone that is in the live stream that's hanging out until the end, like when the live stream ends, you're going to need to put a comment in as far as like what fertilizer you're using. So you can't be like, hey, love your whatever you're doing. You need to put a comment into the live stream once it's over with. And then what's going to happen is next week, if you were in the live stream, here's the thing, people that watch this after the fact aren't going to necessarily know. And I will do the drawing because I can do it afterwards, but I'd like you guys to actually be live when I do it. Just so you guys know there's no funny business. Or I might be able to figure out a way to do it, say Saturday or Sunday. But like once the live stream is over, you guys are going to need to go in, put a comment in the live stream about fertilizer, about something about the fertilizer you're using in your lawn. And then I'm going to use a random comment picker to be able to choose the winner. So once the live stream is over, definitely do that, and I'll announce the winner. I'll see if I can figure out a way to do that for you guys, probably live. I may do it over a YouTube story or film a short video and just show it. Okay, so it doesn't look like we can do it now, but that's an easy way for you guys to be able to win this hat. This hat that was donated very generously by our friend of the family, Josh Habib. It's really nice. It's got like this leather patch sewn in here. If you like my channel, then you can win the hat. If you hate my channel, then you probably don't want to comment. But that's going to be a way for you guys to win it. Once the live stream is over, just enter comment in the live stream. And anyone that enters in now is going to have once the live stream is over, is going to have the best opportunity to win. So I am going to select a winner this weekend, and then I'll announce it, and we'll go from there. So if you want to do that, be sure to comment in the live stream once we are done. Okay, I think we're almost out of questions. I think RBL Jackson has a question about Arden 15. He says, hey, I just watched your video on Arden 15 Overseed, and I have been doing the same for the last 2 years. I mow with a real mower and hope the Arden 15 takes over the cheaper Bermuda. It probably won't take it over. What it will do is it will blend with the existing Bermuda, and you're going to end up with like a mutt lawn. As far as it taking over and choking out the existing Bermuda, that's probably unlikely to be a thing, but it will eventually just grow in, and you'll end up with a mutt lawn that's going to look good after the fact. Okay, let's see. And then Grayson says PGR will help you with over the spots. I'm not sure what the question is, Grayson. But yeah, will it help with over spots? I'm not sure what the question is, but if you can, just leave a comment below once the live stream's over, and I'll do my best to be able to help you out. Okay, G Freeze has a question about fungicide. He says, hey Ron, is it too late to put a liquid fungicide out with the rain coming this weekend? No, it's not too late. Not too late at all. This is the time of year for preventative fungicide. So if you got one, you want to put one out, go for it. What I have used and have gotten really good results with is Headway G, Headway or Heritage or Caravan G. Those are all granulars. Any of those will work well, but if you got a liquid you already got on hand, you want to put that out, feel free to go for it. Great question. And Colby S is saying, I have a 7,500 square foot area that I'm preparing to lay sod on next week, and I'm having a hard time deciding between Celebration and Tiff Tuff. 90% is full sun. What is your opinion? Dallas Fort Worth. For me, I'd go Celebration. I think Celebration looks really good. If I had the choice between the two, I would go Celebration. It looks really good. Tip Top is, I think, a little bit more shade tolerant. We said 90% full sun. So I mean, don't tell me it's 90% full sun. It's really like 40% full sun. If it's truly 90% full sun, and then either one of those is going to do well. Tip Top might do a little bit better, but Celebration just looks nice. So for me, I would go with Celebration, Colby. Yes, that is what I would opt for. Okay. Chris is saying that I'll be starting a brand new Bermuda lawn early in the spring, and I'm curious if any of you have a resource for the best case scenario steps, seed versus sod. Basically, what would you do if it were you? If you're starting a brand new lawn, I will tell you easy mode, and what you really should do, Chris, is sod. Sod is by far the easiest way to establish Bermuda. You're going to have the most even lawn as fast as possible. Overseeding or seeding a lawn from scratch and getting like a really good result quickly is really more of a warm season, like a perennial rye or a fescue type thing. But for warm season grass, sod, especially Bermuda, sod is the way to go. So that is what I would opt for. And it gives you tons of options, right? You can pick like Celebration, you can pick Tiff Tough, you can pick Tiff Green, Tiff Grand, lots of different options you can go with as far as Bermuda sod. Okay, OG's Fish Room says, I just found your channel, subscribe. Thank you so much, OG's Fish Room. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching the content and for subscribing. And anyone else that's watching, if you're not yet a subscriber and you're finding value in the live stream and you plan to come back and watch other videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It's a great way to support the channel. And then Corey Binion says, why do you mow every day when you use PGR? A couple reasons. One, I enjoy doing it. And then when I say a little bit comes off, it's just a taste. It's like a dusting that comes off the lawn, Corey. And also because I am mowing shorter, keep in mind, like PGR does slow down like the grass growing taller. But also your mowing height is also dictated by how short you're mowing. I'm mowing under half an inch. So my lawn is really short. I really could get away with mowing every other day if I wanted to. That would be a problem, but that wouldn't be an issue at that lower height of cut. But one, I enjoy doing it. And then two, it also gives me a chance to get out in the lawn, film some of the YouTube stories, give you guys updates on how the lawn's doing, how the little grass planters I'm doing are doing. It's a way to interact with the audience that doesn't watch my long form content, and just good exercise. So I do it mainly because I enjoy doing it. I don't have to. I could mow every other day if I wanted to, and the lawn would still look just fine. So that's it. I like doing it. Okay, Juan Juandez Medina says, how to fertilize in the Caribbean for zoysia. We have warm to hot weather all year long. The same way we do it here, Juan. I'm guessing you're probably in Puerto Rico, but depending on what you can get your hands on, zoysia requires less fertilizer than Bermuda. So I think for zoysia, it's like 2 pounds of nitrogen per year, whereas Bermuda is like 4 pounds of nitrogen per year. So, with you basically having a growing season year round, just go really low on the nitrogen. Go on a really low rate. Maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of a pound to 1/3 of a pound of nitrogen, and just see how the grass does. Just start low and see how it responds. Most of the product, and pretty much none of the products that I'm talking about, can be shipped to the Caribbean. Mainly because even if they could be shipped, they can't really get. I don't think they would get through customs, and then shipping would be prohibitively expensive. But yeah, whatever you can find locally, go at a lighter rate and then just feed the lawn regularly. If you can put like a fertilizer down every 4 to 6 weeks at a very light rate, that's going to produce a good result with your zoysia lawn. So it's cool. Another island guys chiming in and watching the content. I always like to hear that. Let's see. He says, is that a Richardson 112? No, it's a Richardson 115. I think I've got a Richardson 112. Like some of the hats up there are Richardson 112s. This is the 115. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing that it's a 115? Hopefully it's a good thing. But yeah, let's see. Windshare says, put that hat in the store. I don't know. I have to talk to Josh and see. I mean, he's the one that makes them up. I'll have to ask him because I know the stuff that he makes. He likes to make like limited production runs. But I'll ask him and see how he feels about it, and we'll see. Because it's an awesome hat. It is a baller looking hat. I have to admit, this is really clean. Josh, you outdid yourself on this one. Okay, Michael Preston Bryant the second. He says, He says, I love your channel, sir. What are your thoughts on Anderson's products for Bermuda grass? They seem to give users good results, but seems to be some of the most expensive stuff on the market. Yeah, I mean, I've not really used any of the Anderson's products to really be able to comment on them from personal experience, but everyone that I know that uses them really likes them, right? So, think about it. They're expensive. They are more expensive. Part of the reason why they're more expensive, especially if you're dealing with granulars, is the shipping, right? Because it's just more expensive to ship that stuff than if you bought it locally. But as far as options, like if you're talking about fertilizer, the Humic Max fertilizer that is in the golf course lawn store, it's a bit cheaper than the Andersons. I mean, again, it's still not going to be super cheap because you're paying shipping. Like this guy is really good as an option for like a world-class fertilizer, an excellent fertilizer. If you're looking for something that is going to compete with like their soil amendment technology, the Essential G, this is also available in the golf course lawn store. It's a bit cheaper than their Humichar product. And again, excellent product made by people that make a great product. Again, Anderson's makes a good product too. But there are other options for you, Michael, if you want something outside of the Anderson's line that's a little bit cheaper, a little bit more cost effective. Not necessarily less good, but it's just not as expensive as Anderson's. And yes, thank you, Augustus Lewis. That's it. It's Jerry Baker. Jerry Baker is the master gardener who taught all the products. That's the guy that does like the concoctions of stuff you can find under your kitchen sink and in your pantry to fertilize your lawn. That's it. Thank you so much, August. Really, really good one. Okay, guys. So we are at the end of the live stream. Anyone that is interested in the opportunity to win the limited edition, again, guys, there's three of these in existence. Josh sent me 3 of them. I'm probably going to keep one because it's that awesome. And so this means there's 2 of them. So I'm going to give away one for this live stream, and then it's later, some point in a later live stream, we will do another one. I'll see how it works out. Definitely have you guys chime in the live stream. What we might do, and it might be an easier way because I can't think of an easy way to actually do this, is chime in the live stream now. Like put your comment in. It gives anyone that watches after the fact, because that makes it as fair as possible, right? It gives anyone that watches after the fact a chance to chime in with their fertilizer. So the comment has to say something about a fertilizer to be eligible. And then next week Friday, I will run the comment picker, the comment selector, and that's how we will know who wins this hat. And I will get it shipped out the very next day. I'll make sure it goes out the following Saturday. So it gives everybody that watched the live stream after the fact a chance to also win too. And I can't think of an easier way to really do that, short of me doing something ad hoc over the weekend to select the winner. And that way you guys can actually see it live. So it's kind of your choice. What do you guys prefer? Actually, I'll ask in the live stream because we're at the end here. It's only the hardcore, the diehards that are in here now. You guys tell me, what do you want? Do you guys want to put your comment in the live stream now and wait till next week Friday, and I will do I'll pick the winner live next week Friday? Or do you guys trust me to pick a winner tomorrow, say by noon? I'll pick a winner and then I will announce who the winner is in the chat, because there's not really an easy way for me to do that short of doing like another live stream. And I really don't want to do like a live stream just to show me doing that. I can like film it and put it on like Instagram if you guys want to see it that way. But you guys tell me, what do you guys prefer? Put it in the comments. Let's see it really quick. What do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see, you guys want to wait till next week to find out who the winner is? We'll do it live next week. Or do you guys trust me? You guys want me to pick the winner tomorrow? I will wait till noon after I get back from karate to choose the winner based on who comments tonight. And then I'll announce it in the YouTube comments. What do you guys, wait, okay, there we go. So it says do it now and wait till next week. Do the drawing live. There's 100 people in here, man. It would take way too long. I can't be trusted. There you go. I can't be trusted. We trust you. Okay, so you guys want to, they say live. Okay, live. Awesome. Perfect. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it live. Wait till next week. Perfect. I like that. Even better. It's more fun too, right? So, and here's the thing. Here's the only caveat. Any of you guys that put your name in the hat, you got to be present next week. Meaning that if I go through and I say I select it and we do the winner of the hat and you're not here, we're just going to have to draw another winner. So you got to be present, must be present in the live stream at the time of drawing to win. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So the winner will always be a week out. So that way you guys can watch this. You can drop your name in the hat. Everybody all week has got a chance to win this one of 2. There's 2 of them. There's really 3, but I'm keeping one of them. One of 2 awesome hats that Josh so generously, gave to the channel. Thank you guys so much. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Please like this video, share it. You guys are probably like a vindictive bunch. You're probably not going to share it because you don't want the competition. But we will also do a consolation prize as well too. I'll probably do a couple of stickers as well. So the hat is going to be the grand prize, and then we'll do a couple of consolation prizes next week as well too. All right. So don't think that you can only win the hat. So guys, share, like this video. If you're on Twitter, share this as well. Anything you guys could do to help spread the good word about the channel, I really appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate the fact that you guys take some of your Friday night, come hang out with me and support the content. And I will see you guys next week. You guys are not messing around. Hey guys, remember, it's not a comment now. It's a comment after the video. So once I hit end, the video's over, put your comment in the YouTube video afterwards. It's not now, it's afterwards. I want to be clear. Make sure you guys are doing it the right way. Have a great weekend, guys. We will catch up. All these comments you guys are putting in, add those in the comment section once I close the video out. Have a great weekend. Thanks again for watching.